Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Ninja Useless. I am Mangekyō Susanata Buddha. Chapter 31. My sister-in-law, there are not enough people. We can't enter this warrior-level abyss at all. I heard someone talking. Yufan's eyes flashed with purple light, and he directly forced the Yanjia giant to stop. This guy was too big and could be easily exposed. He turned over and jumped down silently, waving towards Huang Sikong. Bring the marsh frog and the wooden monkey lord, let's touch it and have a look. Yufan looked forward in search of the sound. Through the gap in the bushes, I saw a strange gate with a cow's head with 4 horns hanging on it. The bull's head was lifelike, as if it were a living creature. Abyss copy. The Abyss dungeon is a special dungeon that randomly appears in the wild. It is more difficult, but it can produce equipment of purple rare, or above grade and a large amount of experience. This kind of copy is also divided into levels. Ranks can be distinguished by the bull heads hanging on the doors. The bull head without horns is normal level, the one with 2 horns is adventure level, and the one with 4 horns like the one in front is warrior level. Further up, there is the king level, with 6 corners, and the nightmare level, with 8 corners. At this moment, 4 people were standing at the entrance to the Abyss copy. 2 of them looked older and very powerful. The other 2 are about the same age as Yufan. The 4 of them are all well equipped, unlike ordinary adventurers. This is obviously a child from a wealthy family who is preparing for the college entrance examination. No, this is my first time encountering an Abyss copy, I'm going to fight. The one yelling was a girl with long burgundy hair. She was wearing a complete set of purple leather armor, and her equipment was a bit better than that of Mei Jiba before. The wand in his hand glowed with light orange, indicating that it was an orange legend weapon that was a level higher than purple. This kind of equipment, coupled with her exquisite facial features and slender figure, gives her the temperament of a young lady. But it's a pity that she is now acting out and wallowing, which greatly reduces her temperament. A man with muscles all over his body bulging like hills, a bit exaggeratedly strong, and a big mouth sighed helplessly. He winked at the tall, lanky young man wearing overalls next to him. The overalls took a step forward and came to the girl. Chin Mang, this is the 4-horned ox abyss. It takes 6 people to enter. We can't enter with just a few people. And in this wilderness, where can you find 2 more people to come out? The Abyss dungeon has very strict requirements on the number of people. There are 4 ordinary people, 5 adventure people, 6 warrior people, 7 king people, and 8 nightmare people. No one more or less can get in. This voice, isn't this Yu-kun? Just now, Yufan hadn't realized that the young man in overalls who had his back turned to him was his classmate. He wanted to show off to him at the end of his job transfer, but he ignored him. Yu-kun. I have to say, he really loves overalls. Yufan couldn't even imagine where he found this overalls-like equipment, and it was actually of the purple rare grade. Who? The white-haired middle-aged man who had been standing silently suddenly shouted in Yufan's direction. Yufan was stunned and thought to himself that this middle-aged man's hearing was too good. He was so far away and he could detect it even though he just whispered in a low voice. Looking at this man's face carefully, Yufan suddenly realized. Blind. This man is blind, with 2 red strips of cloth crossing his eyes. He had white hair and held a silver dagger in his hand. The aura around him was extremely restrained, but it gave people a sharp feeling. Blind, white hair, short sword, and restrained aura. Based on the above, we can get the occupation of this person. The second school of ghost swordsmen, Ashura. This profession is extremely powerful, but it is the profession with the fewest choices among all the ghost swordsman schools. The reason is very simple. The first condition for taking this path is to destroy your eyes. Not everyone can have the courage and determination to commit suicide at the beautiful age of 18. And once anyone has the courage to take this step, the rewards are unparalleled. He will be far ahead of all ghost swordsmen, and will immediately gain powerful perception and the power to use fluctuations. Before the sword god of the Dragon Kingdom was born, Ashura was the top ghost swordsman. Even now, Ashura's perception ability is still one of the best among all professions. It is not difficult to explain why Yufan just whispered. He would also be discovered from a long distance away. Sorry, Sorry, we just passed by chance, no harm intended. Yu Fan stood up and took out his Uchiha fan at the same time, keeping an eye on others. The big-mouthed muscular man quickly stepped forward, protecting Yu-kun and the girl behind him, and looked at the approaching Yu Fan and Huang Sikong with hostility. It's no wonder that they have been in the wild for more than half a month, and Yu Fan and the two really look like savages who drink blood from their hair. Adventurer. The muscular man stared at Yu Fan and frowned. This is the depths of the Grand Forest, and there are always monsters of more than 20 levels, and even wild bosses of more than 30 levels. How did these two people survive when they look so young? Only children would naively trust others in the wild. An experienced person like him knows that in the wild, people are more dangerous than monsters. There is no chance, if something goes wrong, there must be a monster. Seeing that they were facing a formidable enemy, Yu Fan was about to wipe his face and ask Yu-kun to prove it to him, when he heard Huang Sikong next to him shouting first. Chin Mang, it's me, I'm your brother Chong. He yelled at the slender girl, then pushed away his greasy hair that was almost tangled, and wiped his face. The girl who was protected by the muscular man was stunned for a moment, and then said in surprise, Brother Chong, why are you here? Chin Mang wanted to speak, but was interrupted by the muscular man. Miss Chin, who do you know? This is Huang Sikong, the young master of Bayota Chamber of Commerce. You should know about it. Huang Sikong. The muscular man looked suspicious. This guy looked like a beggar. He was also the son of the Bayota Chamber of Commerce. And he heard that Huang Sikong should have awakened their family's bloodline profession, Divine Eye Appraiser. What are you doing here? Just when he was suspicious, Yu-kun finally recognized Yu Fan. You are, Yu Fan. What, do you know this? The muscular man looked at Yu-kun. Yu-kun took a closer look and said, this is my classmate, Yu Fan. Yes, I won't admit it, Brother Zui. The muscular man who was called Uncle Zui relaxed a little. Huang Sikong pointed at Chin Mang and introduced to Yu Fan. Chin Mang, the daughter of the Lord of the North City. The one behind him is Chin Yi, Chin Mang's second uncle. Hi, Uncle Yi, you are still so handsome. He said hello to the Ashura, who nodded. Seeing that Chin Yi also knew Huang Sikong, the muscular man was completely relieved. Then, Chin Mang, this is my new boss, Yu Fan, I tell you he is very strong. Real. Chin Mang looked curiously at the boy in front of him who was wearing a black robe and had delicate features. When has your brother Chong ever lied to you? Huang Sikong said familiarly. HMPH, how powerful can a ninja be? I guess it's because someone is a professional in life, that's why I say that, and I think he is the boss. It's really funny. Quote. Yu-kun's yin and yang strange aura. Yu Fan was stunned and didn't know how. He always felt that Yu-kun's words were not directed at him, but mainly at Huang Sikong. Taking a closer look, Yu-kun seemed to be looking at Chin Mang with a vague expression. After Huang Sikong revealed his identity, Chin Mang kept looking at Huang Sikong with bright eyes. Ah, wait. I caress. Huang Sikong had a childhood sweetheart named Yu Yanran. He liked her, but she thought he was not professional enough and went to find Mei Jiba. Then he also has a childhood sweetheart, the daughter of the city lord's family, who seems to like him a little bit. But he might just think of her as a sister. Then his classmate Yu-kun, the son of the leader of Kunquan style, liked this guy named Chin Mang, but Chin Mang didn't like him and liked Huang Sikong. Yu-kun also realized this, so he was hostile to Huang Sikong. Well, Mud, your circle is really chaotic. Yu Fan concluded. Hey, who do I think this is? Isn't this the son of the G-Fist clan? Oh no, the Kun Fist clan. The color of the belt of your overalls has changed. It's not white anymore. I didn't even recognize it. As the son of the president of the Bayota Chamber of Commerce, Huang Sikong certainly could not give in to Yu-kun, so he immediately turned back. You dare to humiliate my Kun Fist sect, I must beat you today until your mother doesn't even recognize you. Yu-kun was already very unhappy when he saw Chin Mang yelling at Huang Sikong. Now I finally found an excuse to roll up my sleeves and Huang Sikong. But Huang Sikong is no longer what he used to be more than half a month ago. Just hit me. Do you think I'm afraid of you, little brat? I want to see how powerful your chicken claw fist can be. Seeing that the two were about to fight, Brother Zui quickly separated the two of them. Although he was also unhappy that Huang Sikong despised Kunquan style, he still understood how troublesome it would be to beat the young master of the Bayota Chamber of Commerce. As an adult, he still knows what is important and what is important. Okay, stop arguing. Now that we have enough people, let's discuss the issue of the Abyss Dungeon first. That's right, with Huang Sikong and Yufan, there are 6 of us. We can fight the Abyss Dungeon. Qin Meng's eyes lit up. Brother Chong, you two team up with us and enter this Abyss Dungeon together, okay? Huang Sikong looked at Yufan. Yufan touched his chin. With the muscular man and Ashura here, there should be no danger in this copy. And even if these two people want to attack him, and if they really fight, regardless of whether he uses Susanna or Kamui, these two people are probably not his opponents, and they are still relatively safe. The worst case scenario is to just fight this abyss by yourself. The muscular man named Zui Zhe hesitated when he saw Yufan. Don't be afraid, my level has reached level 30, and Lao Qin is level 34. This abyss copy is most likely a level 20 abyss. Although it is warrior level, there will be no danger with the two of us here. Quote. You two can just hide in the back. Even if you don't do any damage, I'll let you line up behind Miss Chin and Akun to choose equipment. Just make up the number. Brother Zui already knows from the conversation between a few people just now that one of Yufan and Huang Sikong is a ninja, and the other is a professional in life, and neither of them can fight. That said, I definitely take good care of them. Generally, when a team enters a dungeon, they will be sorted according to the amount of damage and healing. The person with the highest ranking will choose the equipment first. Many times the people at the bottom of the queue have nothing to gain. What Brother Zui means is that if the two elders don't choose, let the two juniors choose first, and then give the choice to Yufan and the others. After all, level 20 Abyss can only explode level 20 equipment. Even if the level is high, it will be of no use to them. What if our damage ranks first? Huang Sikong asked. Not to mention that he clearly knows how heaven-defying Yufan's strength is. His confidence in himself was also unusually high. There is a level 25 wooden monkey lord and 4 swamp frogs. He didn't feel at all that his speed of clearing monsters would be slower than Brother Zui and Qin Yi. Not to mention that he can also use a lightsaber and is very strong in close combat. When Brother Zui heard Huang Sikong's question, he laughed as if he had heard a joke. What a joke! He is a level 30, Kun boxer, and Qin Yi is a level 34, Ashura. Will his output be lost to two juniors who are in their early 20s at most? Not even the most advanced profession, let alone a divine eye appraiser and a ninja. If you two are ranked higher in output, of course we won't be able to bully you. We will naturally let you choose equipment first. Huang Sikong nodded and thought to himself, you'd better keep your word, otherwise you'll know how powerful my boss's Gundam is. Okay, let's sort out the equipment and make preparations before the war. Brother Zui said. Yeah, I can finally fight in the abyss. Explode equipment, flash gold, I want an epic. Qin Meng looked very excited. All 4 of them began to sort out their equipment and check their weapons. Yu Kun naturally used the purple heritage level weapon, Ice Phoenix Claw, that he had shown off before, which had its own ice attribute attack. The weapons of Brother Zui and Qin Yi were both level 30 purple equipment, and Yufan didn't recognize them either as gloves or daggers. Yufan had nothing to prepare. His black robe and Uchiha fan were both divine weapons and would not be damaged at all. Huang Sikong used purple demonic eyes to call all 4 swamp frogs and the wooden monkey lord over. They had been hiding in the bushes not far away. Brother Zui's pupils shrank slightly. Although he didn't know what those frogs were, he could feel a certain aura from the monkey. The monsters in the Grand Forest quickly went through his mind. Lord Wooden Monkey. Huang Sikong was very satisfied with his reaction. Yes, the level 25 Lord Wild Monster, the Wooden Monkey Lord. Brother Zui nodded secretly. No wonder Huang Sikong was able to run into such a deep place in the Grand Forest. It turned out that he had this special method. It is estimated that the Wooden Monkey Lord and the Strange Frog were trained by the Bayota Chamber of Commerce using special means, and then secretly got them out by Huang Sikong. Little brother, don't you need to prepare something? Restoration potions or something? Brother Zui reminded Yufan. Yufan nodded, took out the Uchiha fan, and then dusted off his robe. Question mark. Gone. And what the hell is this weapon? Do ninjas use fans? It is said that ninjas at level 15 have a fire-breathing skill. Is the fan used to fan the wind? Brother Zui couldn't hold himself any longer and shook his head. Okay, everyone is ready to enter the dungeon. The four of you are mainly focused on safety. The main task of killing monsters is left to me and Lao Chin. Remember, don't show off, especially you, Yu-kun. If you get injured and it affects your future college entrance examination, I will be punished. Enter, comma. As soon as they entered the dungeon, the information about the abyss appeared in front of everyone. Abyss Dungeon, Goblin's Endless Cave. Level 25. Difficulty, Warrior level. Number of people, 6 people. Recommended level 25 and above. Passing conditions. Destroy all goblins 1042 and rescue the trapped girl 53. Summary. The goblin family multiplied crazily in Yamanaka and reached a huge scale. They invaded surrounding villages and market towns and plundered large amounts of food, weapons and girls. Is it level 25? Brother Zui pursed his big mouth. The abyss that appear in the Grand Forest are usually level 20, and rarely appear at level 25. Don't underestimate these 5 levels, the difficulty is very different. Old Chin, he is level 25. Brother Zui looked at Chin Yi next to him. After all, he was the strongest here. Chin Yi nodded. Now that the matter is at this point, there is no way to exit, so he can only get in. Tell me the key points of fighting the goblins, and then let's get started. Listen up, you 4. This is a level 25 warrior level abyss, which is very difficult. Don't think that goblins are weak. If you underestimate goblins, you will suffer big losses, especially in caves. Goblins' combat power will increase exponentially, but goblins are more afraid of fire. Then Brother Zui taught the 4 of them about his experience for 20 minutes. It can be seen that he is not very confident. After everything was explained clearly, the 6 people marched towards the cave not far ahead in full formation. Their formation is very simple. Chin Yi is the main C, killing monsters at the front. Brother Zui is the deputy C, and his position is slightly further back. While killing monsters, he is always ready to turn around and protect Chin Meng and the others. The 4 of them, Chin Meng, formed a team and were responsible for clearing out some fish that slipped through the net and guarding against goblin sneak attacks. The door of the cave. A few goblins with thin bodies, dull eyes, and drooling were guarding the door. In goblin society, there is no such thing as sending a strong person to guard the door. Positions are allocated according to strength. The weakest ones are responsible for such errands as guarding the gate and patrolling. The really powerful ones are happy in caves. Eat the stolen meat, drink the stolen wine, enjoy the stolen women, and pass on your excellent genes. Chin Yi maintained his usual silence and took the lead in trotting towards the goblins. After this, Ashura entered the battle state. The whole person burst out with strong pressure. If you look carefully, you will find that the space around him is constantly distorting. It is the level 15 status skill of Ashura, Killing Intention Wave. Once turned on, it can unconsciously damage all enemies close to Ashura. Galyulu. The cannon fodder goblins finally noticed Chin Yi, who was approaching quickly. They seemed to know that they were no match and began to try to shout into the cave. But before they even screamed a few times, they had already entered the attack range of Killing Intention Wave. The next moment, they were twisted crazily like a pair of invisible hands, their bodies were deformed and they died. So strong. Yufan secretly lamented that even though they were just a few cannon fodder goblins, he was still envious of their ability to kill monsters without even moving their hands. Stop looking and follow. Brother Zui waved and ran towards the entrance of the cave. Brother Zui, what are you doing? Even if they are goblins, there is no need to put the corpses. Chin Meng was screaming. Because Brother Zui took out a dagger, he inserted the dagger into the goblin's body, and then began to stir the goblin's internal organs. Their noses are very clever. What? Brother Zui answered as if the donkey lips were completely different from the horse's mouth. He used the blood-stained scarlet scarf to take out the liver from the goblin's belly. Especially the scent of a young girl like you. Oh, wait a minute. I said, Brother Zui, are you trying to? Brother Zui answered her guess with action. He wrapped the liver tightly with a scarf and twisted it hard. Then he started to apply it on Qin Meng's body without any explanation. Qin Meng's little face turned pale with fright. Before long, after a few people wiped a little bit of goblin blood on their bodies, they entered the cave. Among them, Qin Meng rubbed the most on her body. Her slender body was trembling slightly and the corners of her eyes were moist. Inside the cave is a narrow path surrounded by gray-white limestone. Qin Yi, who serves as the striker, has already gone quite a distance. As the cave deepens, the road becomes slightly wider, enough for two people to walk side by side. Huang Sikong walked beside Qin Meng and kept comforting her. Yu Kun kept trying to walk up to replace Huang Sikong, but the aisle was not wide enough for three people to walk at the same time. So he could only walk side by side with Yu Fan. Seeing his uncertain expression, Yu Fan expressed his joy. Of course, Yu Fan has been strictly trained to eat melons. No matter how funny it is, he will never laugh. The downward channel always slopes in one direction. The road should have been straight, but it was slightly curved. This downward channel is obviously an oversized spiral structure. Along the way, we encountered several waves of patrolling goblins, all of whom were minions less than level 15. They were all killed by Qin Yi. Qin Yi led a few people along and stopped in front of a dilapidated wooden door. As soon as Yu Fan got closer, an unpleasant stench wafted out. The air was very thick, and a strange sour smell entered the throat with every breath and lingered for a long time. The first monster room, Brother Zui asked. Yeah, Qin Yi nodded. Whether it is a dungeon or an abyss, there will be a specific area where monsters gather, called a monster room. Be careful, there might be a lot of monsters in there, and we can't stop them all. Brother Zui told the four of them. Then he turned around, took a deep breath, and kicked the wooden door. The wooden door fell into the room with a bang. The dirty water on the floor was splashed by the wooden door, and the water droplets scattered. Galulu. Quote. There were more than 20 goblins inside. They were shocked when they looked at the sudden appearance of the people. Orange eyes stared directly at the group of people, as if they didn't understand why they didn't receive any information about the intruder. Qin Yi and Yu Tianliang will not wait for them to react before taking action. The two men stormed out. Brother Zui used the level 20 skill of Kun Boxer, Tishin Kao. Tishin Ko used the shoulder and back to launch a violent impact while moving forward quickly. It not only causes damage, but also has a strong knockback effect. If you are proficient enough, you can use it continuously. This is a level 20 skill. As a level 30 master, Brother Zui has naturally already developed a high level of proficiency in this skill. With one move continuous iron mountain back, Brother Zui crashed directly into the group of goblins like a dump truck. For a moment, the goblin screams filled the room. Qin Yi did not rush into the enemy formation directly. Ashura is the only one among the ghost swordsmen that is good at range. His dagger shone with colorful light. After a short period of energy accumulation, the sword tip flicked, and an arc-shaped shock wave flew into the enemy formation. Every goblin that hit this shock wave melted quickly like an ice cube hitting hot water. This is exactly the signature skill of Ashura, Shira Evil Light Slash. Under the powerful attack of the two men, the goblins had no fighting spirit to fight back and immediately fled in all directions. These goblins have the intelligence of 7 or 8-year-old human children. They seemed to understand that the 4 Yu fans standing behind them were the soft persimmons. Several goblins came around from the edge of the room and headed straight for them. He held a dagger stained with unknown liquid in his hand. If you are scratched by this thing, you may be poisoned. Let me. Yu Kun squeezed past Huang Sikong, who was standing in front, and rushed forward to meet him. He was worried that he would not have a chance to show off in front of Qin Meng. Seeing this, Qin Meng also raised his brilliant level staff. Elemental Shield, Thunder. A ray of blue light quickly flew out and landed on Yu Kun's body, and Yu Kun suddenly seemed to be wearing a blue raincoat. How is it? My skills are pretty good, right? This is the level 15 skill of Elemental Mage. Quote. Although it is called an elemental shield, in addition to protection, it can also allow the caster to have attribute attacks while the shield exists. Qin Meng's mentality had mostly recovered under Huang Sikong's comfort, and he showed off his skills to Huang Sikong with a smile. Yu Fan looked at Yu Kun, and sure enough, every blow contained the effects of both ice and thunder attributes. The parts he attacks will instantly lose consciousness under the dual effects of ice and thunder. Yu Kun and brother Zui are both Kun boxing masters, and he has also learned the level 20 skill Tishan Kao. But it's much weaker when he uses it, and he can't cast it continuously. An iron mountain leaned down, only knocking the goblin away. But Yu Kun is worthy of being the son of the leader of Kun Fist Sect. He is extremely proficient in using the level 15 skill dribbling dance steps. Even though he was surrounded by 3 goblins, he still managed to keep up with the situation. He jumped left and dodged right without being hit by the goblins. Dribbling dance step, it is said to be a skill that the first founder of Kunkan style learned while playing basketball, and it is also the pioneering skill of Kunkan style. This skill is a physical skill, and it is said that the proficiency has reached its peak, allowing Kun boxer masters to move freely among thousands of armies. Hey, Yu Kun, are you okay? If not, tell me and I'll help you. Seeing that Yu Kun could not quickly deal with these goblins, Huang Sikong said. No need. Yu Kun snorted coldly, but just when he was distracted, a goblin broke through him and rushed towards Qin Meng. The situation was sudden and Qin Meng was caught off guard. Mages are least good at melee combat. If they are approached by a monster, they have almost no countermeasures. Yu Kun hit the goblin in front of him with an iron mountain and hurried back to pursue him. This good opportunity for a hero to save a beauty is just like in the story, how could he let it go? But Huang Sikong was not idle either. Lord Wooden Monkey used wooden cannon. Huang Sikong opened his heavenly eye and used purple demon eye. The next second, there was a bang sound, and a cannonball the size of half a basketball flew out. The wooden cannon, which had never been used in the battle with Yu Fan, penetrated the goblin's body almost instantly. The goblin that rushed up was half dead, and it couldn't be more dead. Instant kill. Wow, Brother Chong, you big monkey is so powerful. Qin Meng hid behind Huang Sikong and exclaimed. No, this is a lord monster. Even 5 Yu Kuns tied together can't defeat it. You fart. The hero failed to save the beauty, but was belittled by Huang Sikong in his life and career. Yu Kun's face turned green. The first room was quickly cleared. Although 6 goblins came around and tried to sneak attack the 4 people behind, they were all easily killed. Among them, Yu Kun killed 2, and the wooden monkey lord killed 4. Of course, they were basically one with one shot. Oh, Yu Kun, you're not very good at Kun Fist. Your output is too low. Huang Sikong teased. HMPH, what does that monkey's awesomeness have to do with you? Yu Kun gritted his teeth. Is it possible that you can rely on this monkey to participate in high school? Then, what is that? Qin Meng's exclamation interrupted the bickering between the two. Following Qin Meng's line of sight, a strand of golden hair caught everyone's eyes. At the same time, there were also her limbs that were chained. Her thin limbs bear cruel and dense scars. All the tendons of his hands and feet were severed. This is a beautiful girl. Although she was covered in filth, although she was extremely weak, and although she only had a few rags on her body, the left half of her body was still so beautiful. But the right half of the body is completely different. The skin was swollen to blue-black, and the whiteness before could not be seen at all. Her right eye and right breast had begun to fester. The goblin's purpose for doing this was obvious, to insult her. Cough cough. Qin Meng squatted on the ground and vomited non-stop. Yu Fan and the other 3 boys also frowned. It is often said that women captured by goblins will end up with a very tragic fate. But actually seeing it was still shocking and unacceptable. Kill me, kill me. A voice forced out of his throat came. Several people were shocked. She's not dead yet. Qin Meng hurriedly ran up and tried to help her up, regardless of the filth all over her body. No, Qin Yi used his dagger to block Qin Meng, and then swung the dagger repeatedly, and the sword energy accurately removed the shackles binding the girl's limbs. The girl lost her support and her whole body fell to the muddy ground. But the next second, her entire body began to emit a soft white light, and then slowly turned into spots of light. In just 10 seconds, she disappeared from everyone's eyes. They are just NPCs, don't put too much emotion into them. Qin Yi's voice was very calm. As a level 34 expert, he had fought in the Abyss a lot. Without exception, every copy of the Abyss is a purgatory on Earth. Everything in the copy is reproduced by the power of heaven. These things have already happened. These girls they saved in the dungeon. Maybe in reality no one would save them at all. They died in despair in the Goblin Cave. No one knows the meaning of reappearing these things in the Abyss, and the meaning of rescuing them in the reappeared world. The adventurers just follow the rules set by heaven, defeat the monster, save the girl, and then walk out of the Abyss. After that, all this remains only in the memory of the adventurer. Several people walked out of the room in silence and re-entered the corridor. Destroy all the goblins 41, 1042, and rescue the trapped girl 153. Cheer up, everyone. This is just the beginning. Brother Zui said loudly. As they continued to go deeper, they cleared 8 more rooms, and the process was similar. There were dozens of goblins in each room, as well as 1 to 5 women. Suddenly, a bright light source appeared in the dim corridor. Huh, what is that? Huang Sikong pointed to a huge fire ahead. There was a pillar stuck in the middle of the fire, and a large bull-headed skull was placed on the pillar. The cave was dark and the fire was very conspicuous. It seems to be the totem of goblin. Yu Fan looked at it carefully and said that he remembered that there was relevant content in the high school textbook. Totem. Well, the presence of a totem means there is a goblin shaman nearby. Goblin shamans are magicians among goblins who can use some ordinary magic. At the same time, their intelligence is far superior to ordinary goblins. A group of goblins with a goblin shaman will become very difficult to deal with. Totem actually appeared so early. Brother Zui was shocked and his face was very solemn. Almost all dungeons are easy at the beginning and become stronger as you progress, and the Abyss dungeon is no exception. He took a look at the copy progress. Destroy all the goblins 409, 1042, and rescue the trapped girl 2153. The entire copy is only halfway through. At this time, the goblin shaman actually appeared. An ominous premonition arose in Brother Zui's heart. Is it upgrading? A 1 in 10,000 chance of upgrading. Judging from this situation, it is not promoted to the king level, but to the nightmare level. Level 25. Nightmare level dungeon. Even a team of 6 level 25 or above masters must be careful to deal with it. What's more, there are only 2 of them now, and they have to focus on protecting Qin Meng and the others. Brother Zui's heart felt cold, and he glanced at Qin Yi. It was obvious that he was also a little uneasy. Brother Zui swallowed and glanced at the people behind him. There is no need to tell them about their current situation for the time being, it will only cause panic. Maid, can't you be so unlucky? Brother Zui muttered. Laozi originally picked up a red brick and took Yu-kun out to level up. It would be too funny to risk his life. As several people approached the totem of the goblin shaman, a large group of goblins emerged from both sides. This time the level of the goblins has reached between level 20 and 25. Some levels have surpassed Qin Meng and Yu-kun. And there are more types of goblins. No longer a simple ordinary green-skinned goblin. The 10 Korean goblin, wearing armor and holding a scimitar, and the fast-moving, cowardly goblin, appeared. Goblins above level 20 are no longer monsters that can be killed instantly. Brother Zui once again used the continuous Tai Shan Kao skill, and he had to hit it twice before he could be killed. With a muffled sound of bang, Brother Zui's continuous Tai Shan Kao was abruptly interrupted. Although the armored 10 Capian goblin was knocked several meters away. But he got up quickly and didn't seem to be hurt much. It looked at Brother Zui provocatively. Mad, he's just a goblin, he's gone too far. Phoenix hand, Brother Zui shouted, and a light red light lit up on his palm. The light quickly took shape, and finally formed a bird's claw. This, Phoenix hand, is a level 30 Kunquan-style skill developed by Yu-kun's father. It can use fire energy to form a claw-like shell on its hands. It allows the user to obtain fire attribute attack effects when attacking, and greatly improves the penetration of the attack. It is particularly effective against wooden armor and metal armor. It is precisely because of this skill that the Kun Fist sect can compete with the Hunyuan Xingyi Tai Chi sect, a new school of martial artists that suddenly emerged. But recently, Ma Baoguo seems to have a new understanding. The status of Kun boxing sect as the #1 school of fighters is in jeopardy. Now, Brother Zui activated the Phoenix hands on his hands and performed the dribbling dance steps on his feet. With full force, with the Phoenix hand activated, Brother Zui's combat power skyrocketed. A palm slapped on the goblin captain's armor, and the armor quickly turned red. The goblin 10th captain, who was still arrogant before, made a sizzling sound from his body. It frantically takes off its armor. But Brother Zui certainly wouldn't give it this chance, and directly punched it on the temple. Qin Yi, leave this to me. Hurry up and find the goblin shaman. Brother Zui yelled. He knew very well that the most dangerous among this wave of goblins was the goblin shaman. If we don't get rid of the shaman, it will be endless. Good. The power of fluctuations in Qin Yi's body suddenly went berserk and spurted out, knocking away the goblins surrounding him. This is the level 25 skill of Ashura, wave explosion, which can increase the wave output in an instant, forming a huge thrust. Very useful when under siege. After escaping, Qin Yi quickly moved inside. Generally speaking, the goblin shaman will hide at the very back. At this moment, Yu Kun's exclamation sounded. Brother Zui, behind, there are a lot of goblins behind. Brother Zui and Qin Yi's heartbeats skipped a beat. Later, how come there are goblins behind? They fought all the way here. Just when Brother Zui was confused, something came into his eyes. Cow skull totem. Brother Zui suddenly looked at a corner of the corridor behind him. Sure enough, there was a small, low cave there. This is a visual trap. When people suddenly see something very bright in a dark place, their attention will be attracted unconsciously. So when several people first entered this area, their attention was all attracted by this totem, and they didn't even notice the small hole hidden in the dark. Are the goblins in this dungeon already smart enough? Brother Zui's heart trembled. Yu Kun, don't be brave and come closer to me. Brother Zui yelled. Some of these goblins are already higher than Yu Kun. Yu Kun can deal with 1 or 2, but it is absolutely impossible for Yu Kun to deal with more than 10 or 20. In the blink of an eye, he will be hacked to death by goblins. Yu Kun looked at the army of goblins coming up, looked back at Qin Mang, gritted his teeth. You go first, I'll stop you later. As soon as he finished speaking, he stepped forward with dribbling dance to meet him, which made Brother Zui despair for a while. A goblin wearing armor with blue skin rushed out from the group of goblins, and it turned out to be another captain. The level of Goblin Tentherian is 25, which is 3 levels higher than Yu Kun, and he wears armor. Even Brother Zui can't kill him without using Phoenix Hand, let alone Yu Kun. What are you doing? Brother Zui yelled from a distance. This voice is not just a question about Kun's actions. At the same time, he was also activating the level 25 skill of Kun Boxer, Lion's Roar skill. Lion's Roar skill is an ultra-long range sonic attack skill. It is said to be inspired by the roar skill of the bull-headed giant beast. But Lion's Roar Kung Fu has made some improvements. Instead of a single syllable, energy is superimposed through the 3 words, Yu, Dang, and Ma. Like a split rocket, it ultimately allows sound waves to reach a very long distance. The 10 Capian Goblin was affected by the Lion's Roar skill, and his steps suddenly started to wobble. Naturally, Yu Kun couldn't let go of this opportunity, and directly hit the 10 Captain Goblin with an iron mountain back. After hitting him, his mind was confused for a moment. Well, what's going on? He felt as if he had hit a big mountain. It was obvious that he hit the other party, but he was the one who flew out. Is there such a big gap with just a 3-level difference? Are they just goblins? Yu Kun sat on the ground blankly, doubting life. Hey, what are you doing there? Huang Sikong shouted. Wooden cannon. Bang! The cannonballs flew out and drove away the 10 Captain Goblin. Get back quickly, a lot of goblins are coming. Qin Meng said loudly. No, it's too late, there are cowardly goblins. Yu Fan said calmly. Several light green goblins quickly ran out from the group of goblins, moving so fast that it was almost dazzling. The timid goblin, as its name suggests, is very timid. But they move very fast. Although they generally do not dare to take the initiative to attack, once an adventurer is injured and falls to the ground, they will quickly run up and attack the adventurer. Boss, Huang Sikong shouted to Yu Fan. Although he and Yu Kun were at odds with each other, he didn't want Yu Kun to die like this. I know, why are you so anxious? I won't die. Old God Yu Fan mentioned Uchiha. What are you going to do? The opponent is a monster in his 20s. Even Yu Kun is no match for him. You will die if you go up. Qin Meng suddenly became anxious. Although Huang Sikong told him before that this person was very powerful, Yu Kun also said that his profession was just a ninja. No matter how powerful a ninja is, how powerful can he be? But before she finished speaking, Yu Fan had already ran in the direction of Yu Kun. Don't charge so fast. At least let me put it on you. No need, girl, real men have without. Yu Fan didn't even look back. The next second, Qin Meng froze on the spot. Yu Fan easily swung the huge fan, which looked heavy as it was, like a thin sword. After that, it was an understatement. PFF'd. The 3 timid goblins surrounding Yu Kun were cut in half as if they were made of paper. Well, what's going on? The huge contrast made Qin Meng a little confused. The goblin who was so powerful just now suddenly became vulnerable. The 10 Capian goblin that had knocked Yu Kun away earlier stood up again and charged towards Yu Fan with his teeth bared. Yes, that's right, the timid goblin must be weaker, that's why. Qin Meng had some speculation in his mind. But the next second, Yu Fan slapped her in the face with action. Yu Fan didn't even use the Uchiha fan, he just raised his leg and kicked the 10 Captain Goblin. Go to hell. Boom. After a loud noise, Yu Fan remained motionless, and the 10 human goblin flew out to a distance of more than 10 meters. There was a huge dent in the middle of the armor on its body, and some parts were directly broken by kicks, and blood was gurgling out. In addition to Yu Fan and Huang Sikong in the team, everyone else was petrified, especially Yu Kun and brother Zui. Both of them had just fought against the 10 Captain Goblins and knew very well how high the defense power of these guys was. Even brother Zui has to use his strongest level 30 skill to defeat it quickly. As for Yu Kun, he suffered a disastrous defeat without the ability to fight back. But Yu Fan actually kicked him to death with such a casual kick, without even using his skills. This is too magical. Is this a ninja? The cowardly goblin and the captain were killed. The large wave of goblins behind them were not timid at all and swarmed in like a tide. Yu Fan was too lazy to write ink. With a thought, he took out 5 detonating charms and 5 kunai from the item list. I don't know how powerful it is. This was the first time Yu Fan used the detonating charm. In Hokage, the detonating charm is magical. Call it strong, it can barely blow up anyone. Call it weak, the power of Conan's hundreds of millions of detonating talismans is no joke. Rumble. There was a huge explosion and a heat wave, which made Huang Sikong and Qin Meng unable to stand still. The attack limit of 5 detonating talismans stacked together is about 10 meters away from the detonation center. It is very powerful. The goblins that are blown up are basically sent directly. Yu Fan nodded secretly, although it was rubbish when there was only one, but if you can't stand it, you can stack it. In the future, when I have money, I will also learn from Conan and make hundreds of millions of copies and put them together. Isn't it enough to have the skills to kill someone by leapfrogging? This corridor is not big to begin with, and the goblins are all crowded together. It is simply a gift. Yu Fan can buy 5 detonating charms for free every day. In the past half month, he has not missed a day, so he already has a lot of detonating charms. As soon as the goblin comes close, Yu Fan will throw a detonating talisman. The experience and pupil power increased rapidly, which was very satisfying. It feels like playing Plants vs. Zombies with Sakura peach bombs. As for the goblin group, there is the Captain Goblin with high defense. That's okay. What is the emphasis on gunfire? It's firepower. If you can't be killed by 1 explosion, then twice. If you can't be killed by 2 explosions, then 3 times. Explode until death. In less than a minute, Yu Fan detonated 20 detonating talismans, blowing up the goblins and routing them. What kind of weapon is this? Yu Kun murmured. The technology tree of this world is different. They do not have concepts such as bombs, missiles, and artillery. In their concept, anything that can explode with superpower is a professional weapon. Yu Fan didn't answer him, because not far away, a goblin who was all red, wearing a red robe, and a red flag behind him walked out, surrounded by a large group of 10 captains. It looked at Yu Fan with an extremely angry expression. Yes, it's anger. Generally, it is difficult for humans to distinguish the expressions of goblins. But the expression of this red goblin is very human, with angry eyes and bared teeth. It's a shaman, Qin Meng exclaimed. What? When Qin Yi heard Qin Meng's exclamation, he turned around suddenly and felt a wave that was far more powerful than other goblins. An electric current rose from the sole of the foot and went straight to the Tianling cap. This shaman actually didn't hide at the back, but with the attacking troops. Could it be that it had calculated that humans would let the strongest people penetrate deeply, so it planned to do the opposite? Appearing directly in the ambush of troops, do you plan to attack from behind? Hateful. Qin Yi ran wildly, but he's gone too far. And there are goblins all around. Although Yu Fan has shown strength that far exceeds that of the ninja profession. But the goblin shaman is by no means comparable to the captain and the cowardly goblin. The shaman is at the lord level. In the desperate eyes of Qin Yi and Brother Zui, the goblin shaman pulled out the flag behind his back and pointed it at the 4 Yu Fans. Get down quickly. It's going to activate the fireball technique. Brother Zui yelled at the top of his lungs. Qin Meng's face turned pale, and he pulled Huang Sikong to lie down on the ground. If you launch a fireball in such a not-so-wide corridor, the power will be doubled. This is something that all adventurers know. Qin Meng's body stagnated as he lay down. Huang Sikong grabbed her. Well, Qin Meng looked at Huang Sikong without knowing why. It doesn't matter. Compared with Spitfire, it will never be able to compare with my boss. Huang Sikong was full of confidence. What? Qin Meng was stunned, wondering where his confidence came from. Goblin Shaman is a level 25 monster. Its fireball is a talent skill, and it belongs to the miraculous category. It can almost be said to be the most powerful fire spell at the same level. The fire breathing skill developed by Neon Kingdom for ninjas can only be regarded as a third-rate skill at best. Not to mention the porcelain goblin shaman, even the ordinary flame mage cannot compare. It's impossible that Huang Sikong didn't know these things. But even so, he still firmly believes that Yu Fan's fire-breathing skills can resist the goblin shaman's fireball technique. Qin Meng's eyes glanced back and forth between Yu Fan and Huang Sikong. I don't know what happened to them before. So much so that Huang Sikong admired Yu Fan so much. As his thoughts turned, the flag in the goblin shaman's hand lit up with a dazzling red light. Qin Meng closed his eyes tightly and turned his head away. The flames burst out from the flag. The scattered flames hit the wall of the corridor, then were forced to correct their direction and spurt forward. Just like a high-pressure water cannon, its power explodes. So this was the plan. Yu Fan quietly watched the goblin shaman's operations opposite him. It's a good idea, but you're a bit too angry, right? It's like gravel, how can it compete with my Madara's fire style? Yu Fan had a smile on his face, and the marks in his hands changed rapidly. Let you see the real power of fire. Fire style extinguish the fire. You're going to pressurize the flame, right? My flames, which could have covered the entire battlefield, were placed in this small corridor. I don't know if I can suppress you. The result is of course needless to say. The magnitude of the flames was almost like a volcanic eruption versus a gas explosion. The flames of great fire extinguishing are like a high-speed train, crushing everything in front of it. Including the flames released by the goblin shaman. Including the goblin shaman and a group of goblin captains surrounding it. If anyone stood outside this cave, they would be surprised to find that the flames that surged out of the goblin cave instantly wiped out the entire forest in front of them. After a while, the goblins in the rear corridor were cleared away. The whole ground was making a sizzling sound. There was not even ashes left among the goblins. Only the armor of the 10 Capian goblins melted and deformed, sticking to the ground like chewing gum. Okay, let's keep moving forward. Yu Fan turned his head and showed a harmless smile to several people. No one answered him, except for Huang Sikong. Everyone was stunned, as if they had seen a ghost. Is this fire breathing? Qin Meng swallowed. You really a ninja? Quote. This can be false, it's absolutely true. If you don't believe it, just ask Yu Kun. Yu Fan pointed at Yu Kun, who was sitting on the ground and doubting his life. Suddenly his name was called, and Yukun suddenly came back to his senses. Don't ask me, I don't know anything. Brother Zui also said with a face full of disbelief. Why do I feel that your fire-breathing skill is stronger than the dragon flame mage? It's too scary. I'm afraid even a level 35 tank can't withstand your attack in this corridor. Little brother, can I ask what level you are now? Level 28, Yufan said calmly. There was no need to hide the level. Level 28. Brother Zui was shocked. Level 28. Real or fake? Qin Meng widened his eyes. She let Qin Yi take the breakthrough from the first day. Qin Yi can basically complete these low-level dungeons in seconds. Even so, she is only at level 22 now. Now we are working towards the goal of level 25. Most of the people in Luo City who can reach level 25 before the big exam every year are no more than 10. Basically, as long as you can reach level 25, you can beat others by a long way in the big exam. After all, one more round of skills is no joke. Really, why are you lying to me? Speaking of this, Huang Sikong suddenly became energetic and pointed at his face. And by the way, I am also level 27, level 27. Impossible. Yu Kun shook his hand. Yufan just showed his unparalleled output. So when he said he was level 28, Yu Kun was still half convinced. But why is Huang Sikong? How could he upgrade his life career faster than himself? How is it impossible? I have been teaming up with Yufan from the first day. Yufan is level 28, isn't it normal for me to be level 27? Huang Sikong said matter-of-factly. Just you two. Just the two of us. How could you two? Just as Yu Kun was about to retort, he remembered Yufan's fire-breathing skill just now. It seems that it is not impossible. Hey, stop talking there, we're still in the dungeon. Qin Yi finally cleared away the goblins in front of him and walked over. Taking a deep look at Yufan, he knew that this little guy must have some secrets. But considering the current situation of several people, Yufan's strong fighting ability is definitely a good thing. As for Yu Kun and Qin Meng feeling frustrated, there is nothing wrong with this. There are people outside the world and there is a sky outside. If they think they can have smooth sailing and stay at the top by relying on their family, they are totally wrong. Those geniuses who suddenly appear like angry dragons will slap them hard in the face. It might be a good thing for the two of them to experience it in advance. The next monsters will get stronger and stronger. In order to avoid a situation like before, from now on, we must stay together as a team. Qin Yi said. Well, your name is Yufan, right? I need to ask you to take more care of Qin Meng. I may not be able to leave. Yufan nodded. No need to say more. In this way, Qin Yi and Brother Zui can let go of monsters. The group of people continued walking down the corridor. I encountered several more waves of goblins and goblin rooms. Although he was a little tired, thanks to Yufan's efforts, he was still close to home. After walking forward for another 10 meters, the space suddenly opened up. Several people came to a large corridor. Qin Yi made a gesture to ask everyone to bend down, and then slowly touched it. The first thing that catches everyone's eyes is a vast space. Below this cloister is a hall with a very high ceiling overhead and a fire for lighting. Brother Zui stuck his head out from the armrest and quietly observed the square below. Under the cliff-like wall, there were goblins everywhere. It wasn't just 1 or 2 goblins, or 10 or 20 goblins. That is a despairing number, too numerous to count. Brother Zui swallowed, feeling confused. You know, the difficulty is completely different between monsters appearing in batches and all monsters appearing at the same time. Humans have a tactic called defeating them one by one, which shows the importance of enemy dispersion. How about it? Qin Yi asked in a low voice. The fluctuations down here were too complicated, and he couldn't tell what the specific situation was. He could only roughly know that there were many goblins. Exclamation mark quote. Brother Zui's hand trembled and he was startled by Qin Yi. He composed himself, then called everyone over and gathered around. At times like this, you must use all the power you can. There are a lot of goblins down there, probably 200 to 300, and the rest are probably here. As for the types, I'm not sure. You can see everything at a glance. What to do? Several people were silent for a while. Faced with this number of monsters, It is absolutely impossible to fight in close combat. The opponent is swarming you, and you can't use any moves. If you want to win, you must rely on super wide AoE skills. Everyone looked at Yufan. Little brother, can you still use that fire-breathing skill just now today? Brother Zui asked sincerely. Yufan must rely on him in this situation. Can. Yufan nodded, then shook his head. But you don't need that trick, I have a better way. A better way? Brother Zui looked puzzled. Yufan's fire-breathing move before was already so outrageous. Are there any more powerful AoE skills? Yufan looked at Huang Sikong. Huang Sikong was stunned for a moment and then understood what Yufan meant. He wanted to copy what they did in Monkey Valley. After all, no matter how powerful the fire is, how can it be as direct as a large-scale methane plus dust explosion? Hey hey hey, Huang Sikong laughed evilly. What do you want to do? Hey, you'll find out later, I promise to blow them up into the sky. The first person to notice something was wrong. It was a goblin shaman who had just woken up from his sleep. He drank too much and had to find a corner to go to the toilet. Hey, after going to the bathroom, go clean up the red-haired busty girl. Although her screams have become weak and boring recently. But, just grab a new one after a while. Anyway, there are plenty of opportunities. It stretched greatly, yawning and walking towards the corner. Just as it yawned, it found that the ground beneath its feet seemed to become soft. It curiously stepped on the ground with its feet. I find it very interesting. But after a while, a faint smell began to emerge from the soft ground. It sniffed, it smelled like a toilet, but it was much stronger than that. The most important thing is that this smell obviously comes from the soft ground. Although it doesn't understand what it is. But as a shaman, he still intuitively feels that this thing is a bit dangerous. So it planned to notify its companions. Just when he was about to speak, a burst of high temperature and thick smoke suddenly rushed towards it. It choked him so much that he coughed repeatedly and couldn't scream at all. Then, in its final moments, he saw a small flame light up at the end of the thick smoke. Then the whole smoke lit up red. Violent explosions echoed in its ears. Vaguely, it seemed to see a human standing on a high place, taking out a white mask from somewhere and putting it on his face. He didn't understand what happened until the end. Yufan wore a white mask and looked at the violent explosion below. I feel like one of those pervert bombers who specializes in terrorist attacks in those detective movies. Huang Sikong also discovered this characteristic of Yufan. Every time Yufan would put on that strange mask before going on a killing spree. Boss, why do you have to put on this mask before killing every time? Mainly because I'm afraid the flames will burn my handsome face. Yufan said without thinking. Oh, I see. It seems I should get a mask next time. Huang Sikong suddenly realized. Hey, what on earth did you do? Except for the goblins below, the only ones who didn't understand it were. There are also the 4 Zui brothers in the corridor. From their perspective, Yufan and Huang Sikong first had purple light in their eyes, which lasted for about an hour. Then Yufan ran to the armrest and began to secretly blow out a strange smoke. Finally, he spit out a small flame, and the entire hall began to explode wildly. This power is comparable to that of a 4th-level archmage releasing a level 45 spell-like ultimate move, which even shakes the ground. It's just a biogas explosion and a dust explosion, Yufan said seriously. What dust explosion? A skill? Well, you can understand that. Do ninjas have this skill? It didn't exist before, but now it exists. I developed it myself. You drive it yourself. Brother Zui was at a loss for words. Yufan had only changed jobs a short time ago and he was already developing his own skills. Who would believe him? It seems that not all of them were killed. I need to go down and hit them. Yufan looked at the numbers on the taskbar and said. The number of goblins destroyed 1012, 1042, and the trapped girls rescued 4253. What should we do? Do you want to go down together? Yufan looked at Brother Zui and Qinyi. Brother Zui and Qinyi looked at each other. Let's go down together. We can't separate casually. It's best to stay together. The power of the explosion should not be underestimated. Even if the goblins were not dead, their limbs were injured and their movements were impaired. Yufan took out a kunai from his system and thrust it into the throat of a goblin in front of him. The kunai encountered considerable resistance and made a crunching sound. A large number of blood bubbles appeared in the goblin's throat, which was proof that it was still breathing. Yufan opened his eyes wide and pressed the kunai down mercilessly until it was completely dead. Huang Sikong and Yu Kun followed Yufan's example, picked up the goblin's weapons on the ground, and slit the goblin's throat. This can no longer be called a battle, just repeating a certain process. But surprisingly, it was not easy. When the throat of the fifth goblin was slit, Huang Sikong finally couldn't bear it anymore and lay on the ground and vomited. Yu Kun and Qin Meng were already dead. At this moment, the floor and walls of this deep pit were covered with goblin red blood. "Hey, you three, go save those women in cages around you," Brother Zui said to the three people who couldn't stand it anymore. He glanced at Yufan, who was killing goblins, and admired his mental endurance. In his previous life, Yufan was a social beast who was crazily exploited and dared not say anything else. Only strong mental endurance. It's so funny that you just kill a few goblins. You don't have a holiday all year round and you work overtime until early morning every day. Are you stressed? No matter how disgusting it is to kill goblins, at least you know in your heart that you can leave after killing them. But as for the endless overtime work, at a glance, you can't see the future at all. That's the most despairing thing. There are several small rooms at the very edge of the hall, and there are many large iron cages 1 or 2 meters high. The cage is full of women who are tied up and unable to move. Their whole bodies were filthy and bruised, with large areas of erosion on their chests and between their legs. The injuries where the hands and feet were tied are visible and the bones are visible. Some of them had huge swollen bellies, and it was obvious what they were pregnant with. Without exception, their eyes lost their highlights and their heads were lowered, like walking zombies. Compared with the ones in the corridor room before, these women have much better figures and faces. If it were placed outside, it would definitely be a rare beauty. Brother Zui did a rough count and found exactly 11 cages. Here are all the women left to save. Brother Zui breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, it was a near miss. 15 minutes later, the number of goblins destroyed 1041, 1042, and the trapped girls rescued 53. Hell, where's the other one? Brother Zui looked around, looking at the mess on the ground at his feet, feeling a little baffled. They've obviously all been killed. Boss, how about burning the whole place down? Huang Sikong suggested that the smell of blood here was so strong that he felt like his mouth was full of goblin blood with every breath he took. He didn't want to stay in this place for a second longer. Qin Meng also looked at Yufan. At this moment, the equipment on her body was covered with blood and filth. She has long lost her ladylike delicacy when she was outside. Just when Yufan was about to nod. Boom, even the air was vibrating. In the silence where everyone looked at each other. Only the impact continued to roar. Everyone stopped what they were doing and stared forward. Even Yufan couldn't help but summon the Uchiha fan and hold it in his hand. There was another impact. Yufan clearly felt that it was closer than before. Something huge is approaching. Then, out of the darkness, the thing appeared. It has a huge dark green body as high as 2 stories high. He wears a crown on his head and has large antlers like antlers on his head. Its breath carries a huge rotten stench. There is a 3-meter-long battle axe in his hand. Brother Zui's big mouth is the big boss. What? Yes, it's the dragon goblin. Brother Zui's voice was trembling. It turned out that this was the last goblin. The world finally had a voice again, and the name of the dragon demon goblin continued to echo in this space. Yufan doesn't know why Brother Zui is so scared. The name, Dragon Goblin, did not exist in his knowledge base. With a thought, Yufan activated the skill Sky Eye Check copied from Huang Sikong. The message of this big man appeared in Yufan's eyes. Name, Dragon Goblin. Level 35. Skill, Power of the Yaran. The dragon demon goblin has the blood of the Yulong and can be immune to all magic damage below its own level. Fireball technique. By devouring a large number of goblin shamans, the dragon demon goblin gained the ability to eat goblin shaman's natural skill, Fireball technique. Acceleration. The dragon demon goblin gained the ability to move at high speed for a short period of time by devouring a large number of timid goblins. The level of this goblin is ridiculously high, even surpassing Qinyi, the highest level in the team. In this world, there will be a qualitative change every 5 levels. In addition to skills, there will be a qualitative leap in strength, speed, spirit, endurance, etc. So although Qinyi is only 1 level lower than it, the gap is very big. In addition, this guy's skills are simply a rip-off. The power of Yulong can be immune to magic damage. With this skill, it is directly equivalent to abolishing Qinyi's strongest combat power, and he must use physical attacks. And the next 2 skills, Fireball and Acceleration, provided with long-range attack methods and super close combat capabilities respectively. Brother Zui naturally knows this information. In fact, when I saw the dragon goblin, he was ready to die here. However, these men are dead when they die, and they will be good men again 20 years later. But they still have a woman here. Goblins won't let women die casually. Brother Zui looked back at Qin Meng. Qin Meng noticed Brother Zui, who turned to look at him. She suddenly realized the meaning in Brother Zui's eyes. Along the way, scenes of miserable women flashed through her mind. Erosion, corruption, violation, even pregnancy. Qin Meng fell to the ground, feeling warm between his legs. Ah! Qin Meng lay on the ground and vomited. When people are afraid of ultimate, their stomachs will cramp. I'm really sorry, Meng. In this situation, we are probably really helpless. Qin Yi's voice was full of annoyance. He shouldn't have entered this abyss casually in the first place. I thought that my level was high and that there was no danger at all in the Grand Forest, so I was careless and lost my due poise. Qin Meng gasped and stubbornly shook his head. You don't blame Uncle Yi, you should blame me. I was the one who insisted on fighting this abyss. Uncle Yi, I'm really sorry. You were supposed to be a strong man, but in the end it was because of me. Hello, Brother Zui interrupted Qin Meng. Are you going to give up like this? Whether it's life or death, at least you have to fight it first to know. Who is a man if he gives up without fighting? Qin Yi, if you use Ice Blade Wave Sword, even if you can't cause damage to it, you can still control it with the freezing effect. Yu-kun, come with me. Comma. No wonder these stupid people are so quiet. It turns out they were killed by the intruders. The dragon demon goblin spoke human words and made a sound that sounded like a low roar to everyone. You guys don't think you can go back safe and sound after doing such a thing, do you? The dragon demon goblin's golden vertical pupils stared into everyone's eyes. Several people prepared their weapons, lowered their center of gravity, and entered combat mode. Roar! The dragon demon goblin squatted down and roared at several people. A wave of air swept over him, and Yufan felt that his eardrums were about to burst. Qin Yi, do it! Brother Zui took the lead and rushed towards the dragon demon goblin. He understood that in the face of such a huge size difference, he absolutely could not let the opponent run first. Once it starts charging, no one can stop it. Qin Yi raised the dagger in his hand, and the power of fluctuations in his body poured into it like a tide. The light slowly changed from white to blue. Ice Blade Wave Sword, Ashura, is a level 30 skill. It is an ice attribute attack. It uses the wave power to perform nature transformation and can release a powerful ice blade. After the ice blade comes into contact with the enemy, it will quickly spread and freeze to achieve a control effect. The ice blade, which is as tall as a person, arrived first and was one step ahead of Brother Zui. Kai! The ice blade collided with the dragon demon goblin's feet, sending out bursts of white smoke. The dragon demon goblin's feet quickly began to freeze. Effective and controllable, Brother Zui was delighted and immediately opened the phoenix hand in his hand. All the muscles in his body bulged at this moment. Phoenix Claw Dance! Brother Zui shouted loudly. This move is Zui Ji's own move. Although a bit shameless, this move imitates the new level 45 ultimate move Lightning 5 Continuous Whip from Hunyuan Xingyi Tai Chi Sect. On the basis of activating the Phoenix Hand, activate the muscles of the whole body to ultimate and pour all the power into the palms. Finally, it launches continuous claw strikes at the same point at a speed that is difficult to distinguish with the naked eye. As we all know, the biggest weakness of the fighter profession is that the attack penetration is too low. And this trick created by Brother Zui makes up for this, and it has extremely strong penetrating power. In this world, Everyone with ideas will try to develop their own skills, and Brother Zui is no exception. Unlike other people who are mediocre and unable to develop skills in their lifetime, he has clearly felt that his skill is about to take shape. It is estimated that as long as he can take one step further, he will be recognized by heaven and add a level 30 skill to Kunquan style. His name will resound throughout the Kun Fist sect. Everyone will know that there is Yu Tianliang who has understood the Phoenix Claw dance, rather than just knowing that there is Yu Dazui with a big mouth. Brother Zui stamped his left foot on the ground, and his whole body jumped up high, reaching a position as high as the head of the dragon demon goblin. The next second, claws came out like rain, and the white light on the phoenix claw almost formed a line. Brother Zui's palms are like machine guns one after another, and each blow hit the dragon goblin's eyes accurately. White eye fluid and red blood mixed together and flowed out of the eye sockets. Ah 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 ah! The dragon demon goblin screamed, then suddenly raised his unarmed left hand to cover his face, and leaned back. Brother Zui kicked the dragon demon goblin on the head, and then landed on the ground with a backflip. Effective, Brother Zui said happily. If they could do it again and destroy its eyes, they would still have a chance of winning. Ho, I don't know how high the sky is and how high it is. The dragon demon goblin used all his strength to break free of the ice on his feet. I will definitely settle the matter with you for hurting my eye. I'm going to smash your limbs to pieces first, and then torture the little human girl behind you in front of you who can't move. I won't let you get what you want, don't even think about it. Yu-kun picked up the dagger that originally belonged to the goblin on the ground and threw it at the dragon demon goblin. The dragon demon goblin swung his giant axe, and slammed the dagger back like a badminton player. The speed is dozens of times that of Yu-kun's throwing speed. Yu-kun almost heard a swish, and he was already pinned to the ground. You humble humans, do you think I'm the same as those goblins? It put down its left hand, and the eye that was beaten by Brother Zui was no longer bleeding. Several bubbles appeared in the eye sockets and began to regenerate at a speed visible to the naked eye. In the blink of an eye, the golden vertical pupils returned to their original state. This dragon demon goblin is not only immune to magic, but also has such strong regeneration ability. Brother Zui and Qinyi felt despair in their hearts. The Phoenix Claw dance just now was already the strongest method that Brother Zui could unleash. Ha 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 ha, what's the matter? Human beings, haven't you got any more tricks? Ha! The dragon demon goblin laughed wildly. Then it's my turn. It pointed its palm at Yu-kun, and a flame in its palm slowly grew larger. This is the fireball technique released by level 35 wild monsters. Even if Brother Zui and Qinyi join forces, it is impossible to resist head-on. Yu-kun resigned and closed his eyes. Qin Meng saw all this. She picked up a goblin dagger from the ground. Then aim at your white neck. Instead of living and being insulted by goblins, it's better to end it yourself now. She stared at the tip of the knife, breathing heavily. Boom! Yu-fan raised the Uchiha fan and knocked the dagger out of her hand. What are you doing? Don't rush to die. I can beat you. Yu-fan said helplessly. Yu-fan's words were a little difficult for Qin Meng to understand. Can you beat it? Although your fire-breathing skills are indeed overbearing, how can you defeat the dragon demon goblin? Reason told Qin Meng that this was impossible, but Yu-fan had surprised her not once or twice. Take care of this girl. Don't let him do stupid things. I'll deal with this guy. Okay, boss. Faced with the unexpected situation, Huang Sikong, who was anxious and uneasy, felt reassured now. Since Yu-fan said he can handle it, he can definitely handle it. Not far away, Yu-kun seemed to have felt the hot flame close to his face. But suddenly a gust of wind blew. Then it made a puff sound like a fire being doused by water. Yu-kun opened his eyes blankly and found Yu-fan standing in front of him holding a fan. Uchiha bounces back. It seems that no one is immune to the devil. Hey, silly guy, do you think cows are cows? Yu-fan asked the dragon goblin with a smile. The dragon demon goblin was stunned by this human who suddenly appeared and blocked his own magic. Natural cow, are you testing my intelligence? Human. The dragon goblin looked down upon him. Of course not. What I mean is that cows are cows and Madara horses are horses. If that's the case, aren't you, the dragon demon goblin, still a goblin? Yu Fan paused. So you are so arrogant. No, Yu Fan had to wait until the end to take action. Mainly because I had already used Mangekyō a day ago, and then spent a whole day running around in the cave without resting. His eyes were already very tired, and he really didn't want to use them if he could do without them. But in this situation, he really couldn't hold back. Since I don't hold back anymore, it doesn't matter if I'm a little arrogant. Anyway, I have to fight this guy Susan. What Yu Fan said hit the dragon goblin hard. What it hates most is people saying that it is just like those goblins. Human, you are looking for death. The dragon goblin rushed towards Yu Fan angrily, and then jumped up with all his strength. It held the axe with both hands and raised the 3-meter-long giant axe above its head. The axe blade was glowing with a cold light, and it was frighteningly powerful. Yu Fan, please leave, I don't need your help. Yu-kun shouted. He really couldn't figure out how Yu Fan could block this blow. The power of the dragon demon goblin is already terrifying, coupled with falling from a high place. Not to mention Yu Fan, even a level 40 tank here would be cut in half by a knife from the skull to Kunken. Yu-kun, I am saving you today for no other reason than because your appearance is so much like an old friend of mine. Yu Fan looked at the troll goblin above his head and said nonsense. His eyes flashed red, and the patterns in his pupils changed one after another. Mangekyō Sharingan, it's ridiculous. You think you are invincible because you have some Yulong blood. Don't say it's just Yulong blood, it's true dragon blood. In front of my eyes, it's nothing. Let you see the power of God. Susanoo. Blue energy surged out from Yu Fan's body like seawater, and Yu Fan's hair danced wildly in the wind. Bang, bang, bang. The dark blue bones are stacked quickly like building blocks. In the blink of an eye, a huge human skeleton was formed. Although it only has the upper body, its overall height is not inferior to that of the dragon goblin. It's not over yet. Yu Fan opened his eyes suddenly, and a drop of bright red blood flowed from the corner of his eye. At the same time, muscles and meridians quickly appeared on Susanoo, who originally had only a skeleton. Until finally, an expressionless human face emerged on the skull. Now Yu Fan's eye power is at its limit and he can only use this level of Susanoo. But it should be enough to deal with this large goblin. Seeing the giant axe in front of him, Yu Fan not only did not avoid it, but also directly faced it with his fist. Clang! Susanoo's fist collided with the giant axe, but there was a sound of metal collision. A moment later, the fist passed over the giant axe and hit the dragon demon goblin hard in the face. The huge body flew out like a cannonball and hit the wall with a boom. Ah, oh, the dragon goblin failed to understand what had just happened. It only felt that a big blue guy suddenly appeared in front of it, and then it flew up. The body of the dragon demon goblin slowly slid from the wall to the ground. The entire space was deathly silent, except for the violent breathing of the dragon demon goblin. What happened? Qin Meng stared at Susanoo blankly, and his head was on fire for a moment. She really couldn't understand how this behemoth appeared out of thin air, and actually punched away the dragon demon goblin that fell from the sky. There is a saying in the art of war, superiors control subordinates. You are already in an extremely disadvantageous situation against the enemy from the bottom up, but in this case you can still defeat the flying dragon demon goblin. This can only mean that the power of this behemoth summoned by Yu Fan is far stronger than that of the dragon demon goblin. This is simply unbelievable. The dragon goblin is level 35. What the hell is this? When did the ninja profession have such a skill? Quote. Brother Zui was closer, and what he felt was not only Susanoo's huge size. In addition, Susanugami's contempt for everything made him tremble all over. This is a kind of coercion exerted by a natural superior on mortals. It was as if God was standing beside the mortals and did nothing, and the mortals could not help but want to kneel down and worship. Is there such a skill like the arrival of a god on the ninja skill tree of Neon Kingdom? Of course not. If there was such a skill, how could Neon Country be as submissive as it is now? It must have jumped on the heads of the 5 major countries and shit. The one who felt the deepest feeling among everyone was undoubtedly Yu-kun, who was inside Susanoo. Brother Kun has only one feeling, which is safety, unparalleled safety. In the abyss, danger is everywhere. Even Qin Yi, a level 34 Ashura, overturned. But at this moment, Yu-kun felt that within this blue wall, he was absolutely perfect. No one can break through this layer of defense, not even the dragon goblin. This is true absolute defense. This is probably what girls call a sense of security. If he were a woman, she might just fall in love with the man standing in front of her. Yu-kun looked at Yu-fan, who was standing in front of him with complicated eyes. Ever since he was young, he has always been the best among his peers, and he is also the young master of the Kun Fist sect, and has high hopes from everyone. He himself is also full of confidence in himself. He is not afraid of any strong opponent. He believes that he is the best and will not lose to anyone. But this belief was shaken at this moment. I'll never be able to get past this guy in front of me. Such thoughts emerged from my mind uncontrollably, like a small insect, burrowing in and out of my heart. It's not as sad as Kun. Yu-fan took it out directly and threw it into the corridor above. Because the dragon demon goblin had already gotten up from the ground. Human, your power is really amazing. White smoke emitted from the smashed part of its face, and it was recovering at a speed visible to the naked eye. However, even an attack of this level cannot defeat me. Fireball. The dragon demon goblin raised his hand and shot out a large fireball. Yu-fan controlled Susanoo to use her hand as a sword, and with a sharp swing, she directly dispersed the fireball technique. But as soon as the fireball spell dissipated, the dragon demon goblin rushed out of the smoke dissipated by the fireball technique and punched brazenly. Yu-fan secretly said something bad and quickly asked Susanoo to cross his hands and hold the opponent's fist. Click. A small crack appeared on the arm. It's the dragon goblin's acceleration skill. Speed and power are essentially the same thing. With the blessing of the acceleration skill, the power of the dragon demon goblin has also been greatly enhanced. This would leave a crack in Susan's body. The dragon goblin knew that he could only fight against Yu-fan in the accelerated state. So he succeeded in one attack and quickly retreated before acceleration disappeared. Yu-fan was so angry that his teeth itched. This dragon demon goblin turned out to be a sixth man. Come to cheat, come to sneak attack, he is a simple and honest man. Fireball. Accelerate. Seeing that the attack was successful, the dragon demon goblin showed a smile of success on his lips, and then did the same thing again. Use fireball to create a smoke screen, and then use acceleration to sneak attack, as if you want to consume Yu-fan to death. Yu-fan was angry at that time. Nima, are you coming again? Isn't this bullying an honest person? Yu-fan began to predict the direction of the dragon goblin's attack and counterattacked. But what Yu-fan didn't expect was that under its sneak attack tactics, he really couldn't make an effective counterattack. The dragon goblin always retreats with one strike. Even if Yu-fan can successfully predict the direction of its attack, it will be difficult for Yu-fan's attack to be implemented. And this kind of attack that can't be carried out can't cause substantial harm to the dragon demon goblin at all. In a moment, the dragon goblin can recover. There were more and more small cracks on Susanoo's arms. Although it is harmless now, if it continues, it will eventually break. Yu-fan frowned slightly. We must find a way to prevent the opponent from running around like this, but Yu-fan currently does not have any powerful control methods. Yu-fan looked around with a headache. Madu, it would be nice if this space could be smaller. Wait, smaller. An idea flashed in Yu-fan's mind. Yes, I can transform this venue. Although Kamui cannot be used on dragon goblins. But that doesn't stop me from using Kamui to build an octagonal cage. Chapter 41. The dragon goblin was preparing to launch a new round of attacks, but found that Yu-fan was acting strangely. Yu-fan, who had been staring at his predicted attack direction, suddenly turned his head to look at the ground. What does this guy want to do? The dragon goblin was very wary of sudden changes. Yu-fan activated Kamui against the ground beneath his feet. A black twisted hole appeared instantly, and then crazily devoured the surrounding ground. After a while, the place where Yu-fan stood turned into a huge semicircular pit, the surface of which was as smooth as a mirror. Although this pit is very huge, it is only relative to the size of a human being. If Susan and the dragon demon goblin were standing inside, it would basically be a back-to-back hug. The dragon goblin immediately understood Yu-fan's plan. Yu-fan stood in the pit. Once it rushes in, it cannot come up at the fastest speed. And once acceleration ends, it will be forced to go head to head with Yufan and fall into a very unfavorable situation. HMPH, you despicable human being can't defeat me, so he just wants to use such a dirty trick. The dragon demon goblin can actually provoke the general. Nima, it's really an old lady getting under the covers. It's so funny. You're such an idiot. You only do sneak attacks. You don't dare to fight me head on. You still call me despicable. Yufan mocked. Come down if you can. HMPH, you despicable human being, come up if you can. Do you dare to come up? Do you dare to come down? You come up. Get down. Quote. It was obviously a life and death battle, but the situation turned a little funny. Yufan and the dragon goblin stared at each other with big eyes. If you don't come up, I'll kill your companions first. The dragon demon goblin turned to look at Huang Sikong and the others. I knew something like this was going to happen, and Yufan's face was filled with black lines. He kept driving Susanna, consuming his eye power like crazy, so he had to fight quickly. Madhu, try your best. Kamui. Yufan no longer worried about the power of his eyes and started to use Kamui unscrupulously. Directly use yourself as the origin, and send all the rocky ground from yourself to the feet of the dragon goblin to the Kamui space. A passage that could barely allow Susan and the dragon demon goblin to pass was instantly formed. What? Before the dragon demon goblin could figure out what was happening, he felt that his feet were empty, and then he fell into the tunnel. Of course, Yufan couldn't let go of this opportunity, so he rushed over and held down its head. Oh what? Zan, I finally caught him. Made, die. Magic attacks are ineffective, right? Yufan punches to the flesh. If you can recover after one punch, then Yufan will punch 100 times. Oiler. Muda. Under Yufan's crazy attack, the entire cave shook. Qinyi and the 4 others were already a little numb. Is this an earthquake? The earth was shaking, and those who didn't know thought it was the end of the world. The Qin family is considered to be the best family in Luo City. It's not that I've never seen geniuses, and it's not that I've never seen strong people, but no one is as outrageous as this guy. If this allowed him to reach level 50 or even higher, it would be unimaginable. Of course Yufan didn't know what they were thinking and had no time to care. A real man must pay attention when he is oiler. Woo. The dragon goblin was punched one after another until he couldn't even speak. It opened its mouth to say something, but black blood came up from its throat. The wound on his head has not healed. Although the dragon demon goblin's regeneration ability is strong, it is far from the level of immortality. I will die. Will die. This thought flashed through the dragon demon goblin's mind, and he immediately began to struggle crazily. But it was useless, it was all a waste of effort. Without the blessing of acceleration, its power is not on the same level as Susanna. Yufan punched it and shattered its throat as it tried to make a sound. The dragon demon goblin could not speak and could only gasp with his mouth wide open. It looked up absent-mindedly, looking into Yufan's blood-red eyes. I said, no matter what kind of goblin you are. Susanoo crossed the fingers of his hands to form a fist like a big hammer, and then raised it high. Puff! The dragon goblin's head shattered like a watermelon. No matter what kind of goblin you are, a goblin is a goblin. Stop being so arrogant. The dragon demon goblin heard these words at the last moment. Its consciousness was surrounded by severe pain, humiliation, terror and despair, fell into darkness, and dissipated. The moment it died, a window popped up in front of everyone. Congratulations to everyone for clearing the goblin's endless cave. The treasure chest has appeared. Please pay attention to collect it. It's finally over. Yufan lifted his Susan and fell to the ground. The stinging sensation in his eyes was very obvious, as if he had been pricked by needles. He rubbed his eyes with his hand, and there was blood on his hand. Yufan's mind flashed to the image of Mangekyō, the weasel god, with his face covered in blood due to excessive use. Nima, it's over. Congratulations to the host for killing the dragon demon goblin, successfully collecting life force, and obtaining the Obito White Mask bonus, which increases the pupil power by 1000 points. The current pupil power is 5564 10,000. Please continue to improve the pupil power to obtain the eternal Mangekyō Sharingan. Congratulations on raising the host level to level 30. Just when Yufan lamented that his pupil power was being exhausted too much, a massive amount of experience and pupil power came to him. Leveling up already has the effect of increasing physical fitness, plus it increases eye power by a full 1000 points. The discomfort in Yufan's eyes immediately disappeared and became stronger. Somewhere in the dark, he had a feeling. If you use Susanoo with all your strength now, you should be able to enter the next stage and summon Susanoo with legs. Yufan let out a sigh of relief. According to this progress, the complete Susanoo and even the powerful Susan are just around the corner. It can actually increase the pupil power by 1000 points at once. It's not in vain that I punched it hundreds of times. Yufan sighed. You know, there were so many goblins in front of them, and they only got less than 2000 points in total. One dragon goblin can almost equal more than half of the ones in front, which is really scary. Qinyi and others were still immersed in the battle just now. They had not yet recovered from the desperate situation to being rescued. Yufan walked up to everyone while thinking about the skills he had now. Before he could speak, Huang Sikong came up to him. Boss, you are so awesome. Your Gundam looks even stronger than when you fought the wooden monkey lord before. Huang Sikong knew Yufan's strength, so he didn't do what others did. But he didn't expect that Yufan's big frame skills could actually evolve. When he was in Monkey Valley, he was already too strong to be human. After evolving, both strength and speed have reached a new level, which is simply heaven-defying. It's really thanks to Xiao Yu this time. After I go back, I will report it to the head of the family and give you a big gift. Qinyi cupped his fists and said, We at Kun Fist Sect will also thank you, Xiao Yu. Brother Zui came to his senses and quickly answered. It is simply unimaginable how great a person like Yufan will be in the future. Even if Yufan will become the next Dragon Kingdom Sword God. He also felt that nothing was impossible. It is definitely a good thing for Kun Fist Sect to be friendly with a genius before he has fully grown up. Yufan nodded without saying anything to refuse. I have indeed put in a lot of effort, and I deserve the money. Besides, what he lacks most now is money. Okay, this abyss is so difficult to defeat, let's go and see what has exploded. Yufan said. Hearing this, everyone cheered up. It's said to be a treasure chest, but it's actually just a square gray box without a lid, just a whole piece. Under the nervous gaze of several people, Yufan slapped the top of the box with his palm. Immediately, cracks appeared in the box, and then a dazzling white light emitted. It's flashing red. Huang Sikong was just like Yufan in his previous life when he was playing dungeons and clearing the abyss. He was not afraid of the glare of the white light and stared at the box. He saw that flash of red for the first time. Everyone's hearts skipped a beat when they heard the word, red light. The meaning of the flashing red light is obvious, it is a brilliant level equipment. Brilliant level equipment is already rare, and low-level brilliant level equipment is even more pitiful. Things like abyss dungeons generally only appear in higher level areas. It is actually very rare for an abyss copy to appear in the Grand Forest. Without dungeons, there would naturally be no high-grade equipment. So sometimes, low-level high-quality equipment is even more expensive than high-quality equipment at level 40 or 50. Those wealthy families in the Magic City and Kyoto will spend a lot of money to buy these low-level, high-quality equipment for their descendants. Let them rely on equipment to crush them and they can easily achieve good results in the college entrance examination. As for how rare it is, just look at the equipment on Qin Meng's body. Even the city lord's daughter doesn't even have a piece of brilliant grade equipment. Although Luocheng is only a third-rate city, it is enough to show its rarity. As the white light slowly disappeared, the gray box shattered into pieces, and 6 or 7 pieces of equipment fell to the ground. It's actually a double red egg. Huang Sikong looked at the pile of equipment in surprise, 2 of which shone with red light. Brother Zui took a step forward, took out a small box, and pointed it at the brilliant level equipment. Check the equipment attributes. This is an equipment appraisal device made by the Bayota Chamber of Commerce based on the Sky Eye checked skill. First up is a bejeweled and exotic necklace. The chain of the necklace is white, made of metal such as platinum. It is inlaid with 4 radiant gems of different colors, 1 white, 1 blue, 1 purple and 1 red. I don't know what kind of gems they are. Equipment name: Heart of Nature. Equipment type: jewelry, necklace. Equipment level: brilliant. Wearing level: level 25. Light attribute enhancement: plus 100. Ice attribute enhancement: plus 100. Dark attribute enhancement: plus 100. Fire attribute enhancement: plus 100. Additional attributes: elemental control. The damage caused by all attribute attacks of the wearer increases by 10%. Elemental affinity. The damage caused by all attribute attacks to the wearer is reduced by 10%. Oh my god, the properties of this equipment. Even with Huang Sikong's knowledge, he couldn't help but sigh at how heaven-defying this piece of equipment was. You know, the higher the level of the battle, the more emphasis is placed on attribute attacks. Some professional schools, such as Yu Kun and his Kun Fist style, have among their skills the Phoenix Hand skill with its own fire attribute attack. Some professional schools are in a worse situation. Without attribute attack status skills, they have to spend a lot of money to buy a weapon with attribute attack. Otherwise, when facing an enemy, if the opponent has attribute attacks but you don't, you will be at a huge disadvantage. And just having attribute attacks is not enough. A truly strong person will also pursue another value: attribute enhancement. Attribute enhancement, as the name suggests, enhances the effect of attribute attacks, and its effect is far greater than attribute enhancements such as strength. However, attribute enhancement entries are extremely rare even on high-level equipment, and they cannot be distorted. If you attack with ice attributes, if you buy equipment with enhanced fire attributes, it will be useless. Then look at the attributes of this piece of equipment. All 4 attribute attacks are strengthened, and the value is as high as 100 points. And that's not all yet. There are actually 2 additional attributes: elemental affinity and elemental control. Hitting the opponent by yourself increases the damage by 10%, and hitting yourself by the opponent reduces the damage by 10%. What kind of attribute is this? This attribute belongs to a few of them. Even if it were obtained by some strong men in their 50s and 60s who couldn't find suitable equipment, they would still be ecstatic. But having said that, if ordinary professions use this equipment, it can be considered forced use at best. Forcibly absorb the effect of one of the attribute enhancements. If we were to say the profession that was truly most suitable for this piece of equipment, there was no doubt that it was the profession of Qin Meng, the only girl in their temporary team, Elemental Mage. Every attribute of this necklace perfectly fits the Elemental Mage. Elemental Mage has no shortage of attribute attacks. Every skill of this profession has attribute attacks. They only lack attribute enhancements, and every attribute enhancement is required. Equipment with enhanced 4 attributes like Heart of Nature is simply tailor-made for Elemental Mage. Although it is only a level 25 piece of equipment, it can be used for a lifetime by an Elemental Mage. Yu Fan turned to look at Qin Meng, who was standing behind him. Sure enough, I found this girl looking blankly at the attribute panel of the equipment. The face is flushed, the eyes are blurred, the corners of the eyes are moist, the breathing is rapid, the breath is like a gossamer, the body is straight, trembling slightly. It seemed that just by looking at the attribute panel of the equipment, this young lady was about to go. Of course, Yu Fan is not the kind of licking dog who is obsessed with sperm. No matter what Qin Meng does, it will not affect his judgment. If another piece of equipment fails, he will still decisively choose Heart of Nature. His output far exceeds that of Qin Yi and Brother Zui, so it's his turn to choose equipment first. The most you can do is wait until your level is higher and you don't need this equipment before selling it to Qin Meng. Of course, Qin Meng also knew the current situation. She said in a hoarse voice, "Let's take a look at the other piece of equipment." When people are very nervous, their voices may suddenly become hoarse. Brother Zui nodded and pointed the equipment appraiser at another brilliant piece of equipment. It was a simple green ring with a black ring in the middle. The black ring gave Yu Fan the feeling like a black hole opened by Kamui, with a feeling of being separated from the surrounding environment. Equipment name: Space Separator. Equipment type: Jewelry, Ring. Equipment level: Brilliant. Wearing level: Level 30. Strength: plus 150. Spirit: plus 100. Stamina: plus 150. Additional attribute. Space jump active skill. The wearer can jump in space in any direction. The jump distance is 1 meter, and the cooling time is 3 days. Separator. After the wearer uses any flashing displacement skill including space jump, the next attack will ignore all defenses and add real damage of 1% of the enemy's maximum health. Qin Meng's face turned ugly. The properties of this ring look good, but if you think about it carefully, you will find that it is very useless. Space jumping seems to be a magical skill, but it has many limitations. First of all, the distance is only 1 meter. This distance is not useless in battle, but it is short. The second thing is that the CD time is too long and can only be used once every 3 days. By the time the CD is ready, the day lilies will be cold. Even once a day is fine. Then there is the second attribute. To be honest, Qin Meng simply doesn't know where to start complaining about this attribute. There are too many flaws. The first is the triggering condition, flickering displacement skills. Qin Meng has never heard of this type of skill before. How many people in the Dragon Kingdom can have it? If you don't have this skill, you can only rely on the space jump mentioned above that is used once every 3 days to trigger the separator. Isn't this a joke? 1% at a time, triggered once every 3 days. Good guy, it takes nearly a year to kill the opponent, right? That's not how Gua Sha works. This ring is so flashy and tasteless, it seems that Yufan will definitely choose the heart of nature. After all, Yufan's fire-breathing skills are very powerful. If he has the heart of nature, he will be even more powerful. Qin Meng felt sad for a while. She didn't notice Yufan frowning next to her. He looked at the description of the equipment attributes, and his thoughts were racing in his mind. Hiss. Every time you attack, you lose 1% of your maximum health. Or is it really hurt? As an old online game player for more than 10 years, Yufan clearly understands how heaven-defying this attribute is. That's a percentage that really hurts. No matter how strong the opponent is or how thick the boss's health bar is. In the face of real injury, treat everyone equally, you must die if you deserve it, and put an end to all the bells and whistles. The only problem is this trigger condition, the flashing displacement skill. Are there any skills of this type in Hokage? The normal body flicker technique doesn't seem to work. The normal body flicker technique just increases the speed a lot. It's like the difference between flash and sprint. What is needed to trigger this equipment attribute is obviously flashing, not sprinting. Wait, flash. A figure with yellow hair who was always showing off to girls appeared in Yufan's mind. It is the yellow flash and eternal belt girl in Hokage, Namikaze Minato. His signature ninjutsu, Flying Thunder God, doesn't it perfectly fit the usage conditions of this equipment? Flying Thunder God is an authentic time and space ninjutsu. It's definitely a flashing displacement skill. Invincible. Yufan excitedly opened the system store and checked the price of the ninjutsu Flying Thunder God. Question mark. Yufan has a black question mark face. What the hell is 3,000 points? So expensive. My output ranks first, so I choose equipment first, right? Yufan said. It's natural. Just kidding, if it weren't for Yufan, their group would be lying in the goblin cave by now. Even if Yufan says that he wants all the equipment here, it's not too much. Yufan took a step forward. Qin Meng took a deep breath and pursed his lips. Then I want this space separator ring. Quote. Yufan reached out and picked up the green ring. Although he can't afford the Flying Thunder God skill yet, he will have to buy this magical skill sooner or later. The equipment, space separator, is so suitable for Flying Thunder God that it must be obtained. As for attribute enhancement, there will be plenty of time to do it slowly in the future, but there is no rush. What? Qin Meng thought he heard wrong. Yufan didn't choose Heart of Nature, but chose that useless ring. Several other people around also looked puzzled. Compared to the Heart of Nature, the space separator was obviously far behind. What's wrong? Why are you? Qin Meng was a little hesitant. You don't have to give in to me, you can choose the Heart of Nature. Quote. Qin Meng's expression was very difficult when he said this, and then he looked at the Heart of Nature from time to time. Yufan's heart and Chunin couldn't help but smile. Hey, sister, what you said is so unconvincing, your words and deeds are inconsistent. It doesn't matter, I want this. Yufan smiled at the lovely young lady. Qin Meng looked at Yu Fan suspiciously, then as if he suddenly realized something, he clenched his thighs and rubbed them, looking shy. Well, Yu Fan, I actually already have someone I like, I'm sorry. Yu Fan, ah, miss, you are too naive. What, Qin Meng, you misunderstood. I didn't want to chase you. It's really because space separator is more useful to me. I have a way to trigger its skills. Quote. Yu Fan gave a rough explanation. Huh, oh, so that's it. Qin dreamed of Yu Fan's various outrageous skills, and suddenly realized that if it was Yu Fan, maybe he could really do it. Thinking of his sentimental words just now, Qin Meng wanted to find a crack in the ground and crawl in immediately. Then, I'll take the heart of nature. Quote. Qin Meng walked up and picked up the brilliant necklace. Then Huang Sikong and Yu Kun divided the remaining equipment. Okay, let's teleport out and return to Luo City. After passing through this abyss copy, several people were somewhat injured, so it was better to go back quickly. After leaving the dungeon and returning to the Grand Forest, everyone breathed a heavy sigh of relief. I didn't expect to experience the feeling of narrow escape in this Grand Forest. I really want to thank you today, Yu Fan. If it weren't for you and Qin Meng not being able to get the heart of nature, we would all have died in it. Quote. Qin Yi cupped his fists at Yu Fan and said, Young Yu Fan, you can tell me whatever you want. Our Qin family will do our best to help. Yu Fan thought for a while and said, I really have a favor and want to trouble you. You say, can you lend me 30 million Dragon Kingdom coins? Yu Fan asked. He hoped to obtain Flying Thunder God before the college entrance examination started, but the money was completely insufficient. The equipment that was exploded in Monkey Valley can only be sold for more than 10 million at most. And this over 10 million is planned to purchase Amaterasu. This skill must be purchased. It is very important to be able to kill unlimited mobs to gain points during the college entrance examination. I can return it to you as soon as the college entrance examination is over. Mangekyō still owes him 72 million, and Yu Fan still remembers this. If Mangekyō wants to default on the debt, he will ask the Qin family to ask him for the money, and he will have to pay it back. Perfect. 30 million. Qin Yi was stunned for a moment, as Yu Xiaoyu very short of money. Yeah, Yu Fan admitted generously. There is nothing hard to admit. Poverty is not my fault, it is the fault of the world. No need to borrow it, it's only 30 million. It's nothing compared to the heart of nature. When I get back, I will arrange for someone to send it to you immediately. Qin Yi said. He originally planned to prepare a valuable thank you gift for Yu Fan, but now it saves him trouble to give him money directly. Yu Fan was speechless. As expected of a big family, he spoke with pride. It's only 30 million. Is this human language? Oh well. Yu Fan has no objection to this. Don't give up the money you give for free. Just enough money to fully prepare various skills. After a short half-day's trek, the group finally returned to the edge of Luo City. Goodbye Yu Fan then. Qin Meng, who had been upgraded to level 26 and possessed the heart of nature, was in a good mood and got on the car sent by her family to pick her up. Qin Meng originally offered to give Yu Fan a ride, but Yu Fan refused. He lives in the suburbs, very close to here. Goodbye little friend, I will definitely visit you in a few days to say thank you. Brother Zui also gave Yu Fan a fist and carried Yu Kun away. This time Yu Kun was seriously injured. It seemed that Kun Fistman had to spend a lot of money to find a wet nurse in Maoshang country to treat him before he could catch up with the college entrance examination. What about you, what do you say? Yu Fan asked looking at Huang Sikong who was all dirty. I'm going to stay at your house, boss, for a few days. If I go back, my dad will beat me to death. Right, Yu Fan remembered what Huang Sikong said before in front of the Grand Forest copy. Huang Zhonlin is probably looking for Huang Sikong everywhere now. If he finds him, a severe beating will definitely be inevitable. In the past 20 days, a lot of things have really happened. He took Huang Sikong back to the place where he and Su Rao lived. Yu Fan suddenly saw a man with oily hair and pink face, wearing a suit and looking like a dog, standing at the door of his house and looking around. Yu Fan's eyelids twitched. Who is this guy? Maid, are you trying to steal my home? I think you are tired of living. If there is anything in Yu Fan's family that a pretty boy like this would covet, there is only one, and that is his elder sister, Su Rao. Yu Fan rolled up his sleeves. Hey, who are you? Why are you hanging around in front of my house? Who are you? Why are you hanging around in front of my house? Your home. The pretty boy looked at Yu Fan. Isn't this Su Rao's home? Humph, it is indeed aimed at Su Rao. Yu Fan said coldly. Su Rao is my sister. What do you want to do with my sister? Oh, you are the brother that Su Rao recognizes, right? You look like a talented person, but you look like a talented person at the same time. The pretty boy walked up and patted Yu Fan on the shoulder, looking very familiar. Yu Fan took a step back and said, Who are you? If you have something to say, I'm going to go home and take a shower. The pretty boy snorted twice and took off his sunglasses with a proud look on his face, revealing a pair of narrow eyes. Then he looked at Yu Fan with a smile. Yu Fan rolled his eyes speechlessly. Brother, can you stop looking like, I'm so famous, you must know me, so scream. I really don't know you, you're so stupid. Brother, although you are quite handsome, I really need to take a shower. The pretty boy was obviously taken aback when he heard this and looked at Yu Fan in disbelief, as if it was incredible that Yu Fan didn't recognize him. You don't even know me. I am Gao Kashang, the second disciple of the sword god, the frozen fish sword master, Gao Kashang. Do not you know? Gao Kashang. Yu Fan was stunned, he really knew this name. The story of the frozen fish sword master is widely circulated among young people, and many girls like this person, who is more popular than those popular celebrities. The story is as follows. There is a genius, sword soul, at Kyoto University named Gao Kashang. He was level 35 and had just entered his sophomore year. In order to earn contribution points for the school, he received a task. The content of the mission is to prevent a meeting between two American spies. These two American spies are only level 25, and their professions are also third-rate. This task is of course very simple for Gao Kashang. After all, levels are suppressed, and occupations are also suppressed. But somehow, this news leaked out without anyone noticing. You know, for things like fighting, being prepared and not being prepared are completely different things. After the two level 25 spies learned the news, they spent a lot of money to make preparations and planned to use their tactics to kill Gao Kashang. Killing a genius from the Dragon Kingdom like Gao Kashang would be a greater achievement than their 10 years as spies. That night, Gao Kashang, who knew nothing about it, was naturally successfully calculated. His lightsaber was destroyed by the opponent using a special high-level magic scroll. The two spies were smiling happily, feeling that they already had a chance to win. So what if your sword soul is stronger? Without the weapon, without the lightsaber, is it still useless? But what they didn't expect was that during the chaotic battle, Gao Kashang actually realized a trace of the sword god's sword intention. If you have a sword in your heart, everything can be a sword. At that moment, Gao Kashang's eyes changed. He kicked open the ice cream truck used by spies to hide their identities and took out a frozen fish. The sword energy on the frozen fish is awe-inspiring. When the two spies saw that the situation was not good, they ran away. But how could Gao Kashang let them leave like this? He immediately gave chase. That's all. Gao Kashang carried a handful of frozen fish and fought all the way from Urxian Bridge to Chunghua Avenue. Then fight back to Urxian Bridge from Chunghua Avenue. Finally, the two spies were successfully killed at Urxian Bridge. Because the pursuit distance is too long, Gao Kashang was seen by many people chasing down spies while carrying frozen fish, and many videos were taken. As a result, the name, Frozen Fish Sword Master, became very popular on the internet and became an enduring topic. Gao Kashang was accepted by the sword god as his second disciple because he understood the sword god's sword intention. With the blessing of the dual identities of second disciple of the sword god and frozen fish sword master, Gao Kashang's popularity is even more exaggerated. Although Yu Fan knew this story, he had never been a star-chasing person in his 2 lives, and he hardly paid attention to Gao Kashang's appearance. So even if the frozen fish sword master was standing in front of him, he wouldn't recognize him. Oh, it turns out it's you, the frozen fish sword master, you're so awesome. Yu Fan said with a non-smiling smile. Then are you done? I'm going to go back and take a shower. Not to mention Gao Kasheng, Uranus Lousy is here today, and Yufan has to take a shower first. Gao Kasheng looked at Yufan and was speechless for a moment. Did you make a mistake? I am the second disciple of the sword god, the frozen fish sword master. Your city lord wants to treat me to a meal, but I won't go. I'm really convinced. Don't you have anything else on your mind besides taking a shower? Ah, haha, my little classmate is really like that, he loves to be clean. It's like this. I'm actually your sister's college classmate. I graduated a few years ago. I have something to do in Los Angeles this time, so I stopped by to catch up on old times. Yufan curled his lips imperceptibly. It's ridiculous. You didn't look for so many classmates, but you just looked for Su Rao to reminisce about old times. Do you want to reminisce about old times? I'm embarrassed to point you out. Oh, Yufan nodded, then turned to open the door of the house. Gao Kasheng followed suit and walked inside. Hey, what are you doing? What am I doing? I can't let you in until my sister comes back. Otherwise, how will I know if you are lying? Gao Kasheng's face was full of black lines. I said, boy, are you going too far? What, you want to hit me? If you dare to hit me, I'll see what you say when my sister comes back. This was the first time in so many years that Gao Kasheng was treated so unkindly, and he felt very aggrieved. Looking at you, you must have just been upgraded. Are you going to take the college entrance examination this year? What's wrong? In that case, I will test your current level for your sister. Without waiting for Yufan to answer, Gao Kasheng raised his right index finger and middle finger together, then swung quickly from left to right, and a sword energy quickly flew towards Yufan. Sword Soul, Level 30 skill, Drawing Sword. This is Gao Kasheng's most proficient skill. Even without a lightsaber, he can still use it like an arm and a finger. Gao Kasheng raised the corner of his mouth slightly, asking you to suffer some physical pain, so that you don't know how to respect the strong when you go out in the future and suffer a big loss. I'm doing this for your own good. When the sword energy hit, Yufan stood there with an indifferent expression, motionless. Ha, arrogant, Gao Kasheng snorted coldly. A boy who doesn't know how high the sky is. He seemed to be just swinging it casually, but the power was at least equivalent to a full blow from an ordinary level 30, Sword Soul. It would be okay if he dodges, but if Yufan doesn't dodge like this, it looks like he's going to break a few bones. In the blink of an eye, Jianqi was in front of Yufan. But the scene where Gao Kasheng expected Yufan to be chopped down did not happen. The sword energy indeed passed through, but Yufan still stood there motionless. Kamui Hollow. With the blessing of this skill, Yufan is almost immune to all normal attacks that he can react to. No matter how powerful the blow is, it is meaningless as long as it misses. What? Gao Kasheng was shocked. His sword energy actually passed through Yufan's body without hitting him. This was the first time he encountered this situation. What's the situation? Which profession has such skills? Gao Kasheng brainstormed for a few seconds, but still didn't come up with an answer. Hiss, what is this guy's profession? He's a bit weird. Frozen fish sword master, if you don't have frozen fish in your hand, it really won't work. Yufan glanced at Gao Kasheng and said in a neutral tone. Gao Kasheng was scolded by Yufan and paused for a few seconds, but instead of getting angry, he smiled. Ha 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 ha, funny boy. Hey, Gao Kasheng, what are you doing here? It was Yufan's familiar voice. Su Rao came over from not far away. When Gao Kasheng saw Su Rao, it was as if he saw a life-saving straw. Su Rao, you are finally back. Your brother is so stubborn. He refuses to let me in. On the dinner table, Gao Kashengguo sat on the table and kept talking. Oh, I'm so touched. After so many years, Su Rao, your cooking skills have not changed. It's still so unpalatable. It reminds me of the time when we were on missions together. If it tastes bad, don't eat it. Su Rao slapped the table. My temper is still so hot. Yi Qing is back, Yi Qing is back. You're such a fool, can you shut up and eat, huh? Su Rao couldn't bear it anymore. Holy shit, Su Rao, there are other people here, can you stop talking nonsense? I just have a good relationship with my brother, what does brother control mean? The others Gao Kasheng was talking about were naturally Yufan and Huang Sikong, who were sitting nearby. The two of them were staring at each other while showing off their food. Yu Fan has always been like this. He has no interest in chasing stars. But if you want to say which celebrity has suddenly lost his relationship, been cheated on, is gay, is a pervert, etc., then he will not be sleepy immediately. Then why did you come to Luo City? You don't know. There should be rumors, right? 8 ghost swordsmen have emerged from your Luo City this year. My master asked me to come over and see if there are any good ideas. He wants to recruit another apprentice and plans to start from just now. Go to university and start training. Oh, Su Rao nodded, a little indifferent. Yu Fan is a ninja, not a ghost swordsman, so this matter has nothing to do with them. By the way, your brother is also taking the college entrance examination this year. What is his occupation? Gao Kasheng had actually wanted to ask for a long time, but he was too embarrassed to ask Yu Fan directly, which seemed like he had no qualifications at all. This is the right time to ask Su Rao. He's a ninja, Su Rao said. Ninja. Gao Kasheng was surprised. For the ninja profession, the only things people from the Dragon Kingdom can learn are a fire-breathing skill and a climbing skill at level 15. And he also fought against Neon's ninja. He was certain that among Neon's 8 ninja skills, there was absolutely no magical skill that Yu Fan had used to avoid his own drawing sword. Is it possible? Gao Kasheng couldn't care less about his appearance. Yu Fan, what is your skill? How did you avoid my drawing sword / outside just now? Forehead. Yu Fan thought for a while, and if he asked Gao Kasheng to help him, it might be easier to establish a ninja guild and summon ninjas from the Dragon Kingdom. I learned this skill myself. What? Gao Kasheng stood up in response. Although he had already guessed in his mind just now, he still couldn't hold it back when he heard the truth. He is now level 46, only 4 levels away from his first awakening. As his strength improved, he also learned some things that ordinary people didn't know. The skills of the hidden profession are not that easy to understand, and it requires unparalleled understanding to do so. And people with this amazing understanding are likely to be able to learn skills many times, and even learn skills across professions, which is a strategic resource for a country. Gao Kasheng looked at Yu Fan and rolled his eyes. In this way, after the college entrance examination is over, you can go back to Kyoto University with me directly, and I can find a way for you to make an exception. There is no need for special admission. I would like to ask if you can help me establish a ninja guild. Yu Fan said. Establish a ninja union. Gao Kasheng was a little surprised. How can you build a union with only one skill? What if I have more than one? More than one. Gao Kasheng looked at Yu Fan suspiciously. More than one, how many? 3. Yu Fan said conservatively so as not to scare him. Gao Kasheng looked at Yu Fan motionless. Seeing that Yu Fan had no intention of joking at all, he slapped his chopsticks on the table. I won't eat any more. I'm going to make a call now. After the college entrance examination is over in a few days, I'll contact you. Gao Kasheng stood up and hurried out. The impact of this incident is too great. You know, until now, the Dragon Kingdom is still negotiating with the Neon Kingdom. Trying to spend a lot of money to let the Neon Kingdom open more skills to the ninjas of the Dragon Kingdom. And the chips are still increasing. Now that Yu Fan has appeared, the situation is immediately different. You have mastered 3 skills in less than a month after changing your job. Are you afraid that the ninja of Dragon Kingdom will not have any skills in the future? Why do we need to negotiate with Neon? Negotiation is shit. In a few years, it will be time for Neon to come to our Dragon Kingdom to negotiate. Now that Neon is showing off, it will be our turn to show off to them. Hey, brother. Xiao Shang, didn't you go to Luo City? Brother Chang, that's it. In the study room of a villa in North City, Luo City. Qin Meng happily played with the heart of nature around his neck. Sitting on the sofa opposite her was a middle-aged man with a resolute face. His facial features are somewhat similar to Qin Meng's. He is Qin Meng's father, the lord of the North City of Luo City, Qin Haitian. Qin Haitian listened quietly to his daughter's thrilling adventure. He didn't expect to encounter such a dangerous thing, and it scared him into a cold sweat several times. Listening to Qin Meng's description, he almost lost this precious daughter several times. After a long time, Qin Meng finally finished speaking. Qin Haitian took a sip of tea and said thoughtfully, You mean, this young man named Yufan, his profession is ninja, but he has many very powerful skills, and his overall combat power even exceeds that of Qin Haitian. Yi, quote. Qin Meng nodded, yes, Uncle Qin Yi can also prove it. Qin Yi, who was standing aside, nodded, this little guy is ridiculously strong. Moreover, both he and Huang Sikong have a very special skill, which is that their eyes emit purple light, and then they can control wild monsters. Huang Sikong can control the level 25 Lord Monster Wood Monkey Lord. Qin Meng said. Isn't Huang Sikong a change job as a divine eye appraiser? Control wild monsters, and it can be used by both of them. Quote. The more Qin Haitian listened, the more outrageous he became. Could it be that the source of these things is actually the Bayota Chamber of Commerce? Qin Haitian secretly guessed. No matter what, Yufan must win over him. How much money did you promise to give him before? 30 million. Send 50 million over. Qin Haitian took out a black card. Let's do this. You will deliver the money in person early tomorrow morning. Good. Qin Meng nodded. After the two of them left the study, Qin Haitian picked up the phone. Hey, Damascus, I'm going to sell you a big favor this time. Early the next morning, Yufan received a black card from Qin Meng with 50 million in it. For so much, Qin Haitian is quite interesting. Yufan weighed the black card in his hand. System, open them all. Recharge 5,000 coupons. The coupon balance in the lower right corner of the blue-green mall interface began to jump rapidly. Buy the Mangekyō skill, Amaterasu. The 1,000 points have been deducted and the purchase is completed. Congratulations to host for unlocking the new Mangekyō skill. Amaterasu. A mid-range offensive blood-limited ninjutsu that can generate black flames wherever you look. The black flames will not disappear until the burning object is burned out, and cannot be extinguished. Amatras. This Mangekyō skill of Amaterasu is very contradictory. To put it bluntly, it burned wherever I saw it, and it wouldn't go out. It was like a hangover. But let's be honest, in Hokage it can be said that almost no one can be burned to death. There have been many strange situations where Amaterasu was burned on the armor, and then he was fine after taking off the armor. There's even a meme about, wearing one more thing, you're not afraid of Amaterasu. But this problem will only appear on people who wear various equipment, and there will be no problem on monsters. After all, monsters don't wear clothes. And many monsters like to appear in groups. If you have Amaterasu, just light a fire casually, and the black flame will continue to spread among the monsters, and then burn all the monsters to death. This super durability and AoE range are unmatched by other ninjutsu. Yufan estimated that he only fired one shot of Amaterasu and then stood on the sidelines to watch. Just by killing mobs, he could definitely enter the top 10 in Los Angeles in the college entrance examination. After buying Amaterasu, Yufan rummaged through the skill bar of the mall again. Soon, he found a skill icon with a maple leaf-shaped kunai on it in the space-time ninjutsu column. It is the Flying Thunder God technique. System, you want to buy Flying Thunder God. The 3,000 points have been deducted. Congratulations on completion of purchase. Host has unlocked the Flying Thunder God skill. Flying Thunder God. Time and space ninjutsu requires setting a mark in advance. After the mark is set, you can use this ninjutsu to teleport to the mark. Reminder. This skill is a level 35 skill. The host is currently level 30 and this skill cannot be used temporarily. If you want to use it, please purchase the Overlord contract to learn a skill 5 levels in advance. What the hell? Insufficient level. Only then did Yufan realize that skills had level requirements, and you could not use them directly just by buying them. The main reason is that I have been buying Mangekyō skills before, and Mangekyō skills have no level requirements, only eye power requirements, so Yufan ignored this. Then how much does this Overlord contract cost? 500 points roll. So expensive. A Mangekyō skill only costs 1,000 points. Learning a skill 5 levels in advance costs 500 points. The price is clearly marked and there is no compulsion to buy. Do you want the host to buy it? Buy it, buy it. Everything costs money. It's not humane at all. Even penguins know how to give it a few days to experience it. Yufan curled his lips. The 500 points have been deducted. Congratulations to host for learning Flying Thunder God. Oh, I just redeemed 5,000 coupons, and I only have 500 left. I spent them too fast. But I can finally use Flying Thunder God. Yufan was refreshed and couldn't wait to try it. If Yufan chooses the most handsome person in the Hokage, it would undoubtedly be Namikaze Minato, the ever-teaching teacher. He is the person with the strongest rescue ability in the Hokage. One person fights against 50 elite ninjas, one person holds down 2 cage levels, and one of them is Jinchuriki. Cracked Kamui, who was unbeatable in the early game. The only shortcoming of Minato is that it lacks a super high damage ultimate move like the Rasen Shuriken. But Yufan is different. Yufan has Mangekyō, Madara's fire style, and skills copied from others. Imagine that Yufan secretly leaves a Flying Thunder God mark on the enemy during battle. Then he suddenly teleports in front of the opponent and shoots Amaterasu or Kamui directly at his head, making it impossible to guard against him. In the future, when you have money, you can buy a Tsukuyomi and you can still catch them alive. It is simply invincible. Yufan slapped his palm towards the wall, but his movement suddenly stopped. What kind of mark should I make? Yufan retracted his hand and touched his chin. He didn't know if this thing could be modified in the future, so he had to consider it carefully. If I remember correctly, the second generation target mark is a symbol like a detonator. Minato's mark is the Sword of Ninja Love. One is inexplicable, and the other is too good to be true. Yufan thought for a while, then slapped his hand on the wall. Then there was a small black magatama on the wall. Yufan feels that it is better to make this kind of marking thing smaller, preferably so that the enemy cannot find it. It's unnecessary to make it as long and fancy as Minato did. After marking the mark, Yufan trotted back to his room and placed a mark on his bedside. After I finish my work, I have to go home. Teleport directly to the bed and fall asleep instantly. Perfect. Yufan had a thought. Original God, Chi. Sorry, I got involved. Flying Thunder God, start. Yufan felt dizzy, and the scenery in front of him changed instantly, from his bedside to the wall at the entrance to the first floor. Oh, is this the Flying Thunder God? It feels so good. Yufan lowered his head and found that the ring, space separator, on his hand was emitting a faint black light. It can indeed be triggered. Yufan was overjoyed. 1%. He raised his hand and tapped the wall lightly with the hand with the ring. An indescribable force surged into the wall. The whole house seemed to tremble slightly. Then, click, a crack about half a meter long appeared on the wall. Shit, stop. Fortunately the crack didn't get bigger. Yufan let out a long breath, looked at the crack, and thought thoughtfully, the 1% real damage to this house is caused by this crack, right? Huang Sikong and Su Rao ran out of their rooms. Seeing the cracks in the wall, the two looked confused. Yufan scratched his head and said righteously without changing his expression. What a rubbish developer, a shoddy project. I only bought this house a few years ago, and it has such a big crack. I'm ashamed of myself. Sister, what about that? I'm going out to settle the score with the developer. Under Su Rao's suspicious gaze, Yufan trotted out the door. It has to be said that as the most useful auxiliary ninjutsu in the entire Hokage, Flying Thunder God is not only powerful but also addictive. Addicted to what? That must be an addiction to marking. When you pass by a barbecue stall, mark it and teleport to eat barbecue later. Passing by the basketball court, I marked it, and from now on. When passing a bus, mark it, and from now on. I passed by the beautiful married sister's boudoir and marked it. From now on. Well, I'm really just passing by, don't get me wrong. At the end of the day, there is no place in Los Angeles that Yufan cannot teleport to. After a day of testing by Yufan, using Flying Thunder God once consumes about the same amount of energy as doing 50 push-ups. If it was in the previous life, I would probably be exhausted after using it once or twice. But in this life, upgrading can greatly increase physical strength. Yufan can do thousands of push-ups, which is more than enough. It can completely support Yufan using Flying Thunder God multiple times in a short period of time. A few days later, Los Angeles Center Stadium. There are so many people here today. It has been a month since the senior high school graduates completed their job transfer. Now the most promising students in Los Angeles will take the college entrance examination here and compete against each other. The college entrance examination in this world is even more important than Yufan's previous life. Because in this world, not all copies are open to everyone. Some special copies, for example, Tower of Trials, Tower of Death, Endless Altar, and other rare copies that can directly increase attributes and explode special equipment are only eligible to enter high-end schools. Although the dungeon will be refreshed all the time, if there are too many people refreshing it, the energy will be exhausted one day and it will no longer be refreshed. The precious copies in the territory are the lifeblood of a country and the foundation of its existence, just like the oil fields and gold mines in previous lives. Some of these copies are unique in the world, just like the giant panda. This kind of resources must naturally be allocated to people with greater potential, and the college entrance examination is to screen out these people. If you don't perform well in the college entrance examination and fail to enter university, you can only upgrade in various open dungeons as an adventurer, and the upgrade speed will inevitably be very slow. At this moment, the entrance to the stadium is packed with people. In addition to the students who came to take the exam, many parents of students and people who came to watch the fun also came. Tickets for the annual college entrance examination also generate considerable revenue. Although it is not as exaggerated as the 2 million for a ticket of a certain excrement group, it is not cheap if it is a good location. Yufan and Huang Sikong went straight to the candidate ticket exchange office. The fingernails of 5 cat demons and the broken bones of 10 goblins. The staff didn't even look up. Yufan handed him the materials and student ID card, and then successfully obtained the admission ticket. The surrounding students who also got tickets were talking excitedly. You, an archer, have actually reached level 20. Not bad, it seems that you have been working hard this month. Quote. Haha, I asked my uncle to take me. He just came back from the Magic City this month. He is a level 28 archer. He can kill the monsters in the Grand Forest dungeon with 1 arrow at a time, which is fast. I've reached level 20, and I'm a heavy armored knight. I'm very powerful, but I lack DPS. How about we form a team for the big exam? I'll be in front, and you'll be responsible for the output. Quote. Okay, no problem, I'm planning to find someone to form a team with. You want to form a team? Take me with you, take me with you. I am a mage and can provide you with magic output. Okay, now we have tanks, shooters, and mages, a perfect lineup. Maybe we can reach the road to heaven in the first echelon. The format of the major exam is the same every year. All candidates were transported into a strange space. Everyone started from the same starting point, crossed the dangerous area in the middle, and reached the road to heaven. At this stage, everyone can form a team at will to help each other and improve their speed. Generally speaking, as long as you can reach the entrance of the road to heaven, you can already study in college. Many students with poor abilities stop here. But for truly capable students, the test has just begun. They have to climb the road to heaven, fight against the massive monsters on the road to heaven, and climb all the way up. Finally, the final score is obtained based on the distance traveled and the number of monsters killed. The road to heaven only allows auxiliary combat professions to team up with other people. The points are divided equally between 2 people, and the others must do it alone. But generally speaking, 1 plus 1 is greater than 2, so auxiliary combat professions are very popular. People like Yu-kun, Chin Meng, and Mei Jiba all had auxiliary combat professions arranged by their families. Mei Jiba's partner is naturally Huang Sikong's childhood sweetheart, Yu Yanran. Brother Yu is really talented. He was able to upgrade to level 26 in just 1 month. I, Mei, admire him. Haha, it's nothing, it's just a fluke. Hey, Brother Yu, there is no need to be modest. In Luo City, you are probably the only one who can take the college entrance examination with level 26. To be honest, I am only level 25. Level 26 is nothing. Talk about Cao Cao. Cao Cao arrives. A group of people came towards Yufan, led by Yu-kun and Mei Jiba, who were chatting excitedly. Huang Sikong, you are here to take the exam too. I thought you would definitely give up the exam and become your businessman. After all, you are so good at business. When he got in front of him, Mei Jiba said in an exaggerated tone that Huang Sikong cheated him for 80 million before, but he still remembered it. Isn't this Yufan, Yu Kun's lackey, who had a few arguments with Yufan on the day he was transferred, looked at Yufan teasingly. Ninja, like you is here to take the college entrance examination. It's a waste of time. Can you walk to the road to the sky? You probably won't even be able to see the exhaust from my brother Kun. Quote. Besides, in your profession, even if you can barely reach the road to heaven, no school will want you. I think you should not waste your time. Shut up, Yu Kun shouted at that fool. He knew very well what kind of strength Yufan was, so he was mocking Yufan. It's just asking for humiliation. Yu Kun's voice startled both Mangekyō and that idiot. Brother Yu, what's wrong? Gojizi stammered. You're still asking what's wrong. I think you shouldn't follow me in this big exam. Yu Kun shook his hand, wondering how he could accept such a blind brother in the first place. Kun, brother Kun, please don't. I will never dare to do it again. You have to take me. In the first stage of the big exam, it will be much easier if you can follow someone with strong skills. This is also tacitly allowed by the exam, and connections are also a type of strength. As soon as this dogleg entered the third year of high school, he already planned to hug Yu Kun's lap and work as Yu Kun's pawn for a year. Moreover, Yu Kun exploded this year and actually reached level 26 before the college entrance examination. Originally, he thought his university was secure and he was very excited. Unexpectedly, I don't know what happened now. I mocked Yufan and made Yu Kun angry, saying that I would not take him with me. Brother Kun, don't do that kind of thing. I've been your horseboy for a year. It's hard work without any credit, brother Kun. He hugged Yu Kun's thigh, his nose and tears bursting into tears, staining Yu Kun's overalls. Yes, brother Yu, this little brother is right. Taking a waste profession like ninja to take the college entrance examination is indeed a waste of time. Quote. Meiji said domineeringly, with one ninja and one profession, it would be appropriate for these two to team up, ha ha ha. Quote. It's a bit hot today. Yufan is not wearing a black robe or mask. He plans to wear it after the exam starts. So Mangekyō didn't recognize Yufan. Alas, Yu Kun sighed, okay, get up and leave quickly, don't embarrass me here. Yanran, are you really not going to team up with me? Huang Sikong was too lazy to pay attention to Mangekyō and looked at Yu Yanran. He really hoped that Yu Yanran could change her mind. This was his last chance. Is that what you called Yanran? Mangekyō interrupted Huang Sikong. Yanran will become my fiancé soon. I tell you, you loser, stay away from her. When Mangekyō said these words, Yu Yanran lowered her head, neither looking at Huang Sikong nor speaking. Huang Sikong took a deep breath and said, Boss, let's go. Yufan nodded. There is no point in talking now. After entering the trial space, if you dare to chatter again, you will beat the shit out of him. Yu Kun watched the two people leaving, then glanced at Yu Yanran, who was hugged by Mangekyō reluctantly, and shook his head helplessly. This fish Yanran is afraid that her intestines will turn green immediately. If you ask me, the top scorer in the Los Angeles college entrance examination this time is probably between you and me. Mangekyō started bragging again, which made Yu Kun feel dizzy. The candidates preparing to take the exam have all gathered in the middle of the stadium. The crowd was bustling, and most of them were looking for teammates from the first stage of the exam. The first stage of this big exam is a test of human nature. It's like a road race. At the beginning, everyone agreed to cooperate with each other and speed up together. In the end, everyone crossed the line based on their own abilities. But after all, this is a selection exam, not a passing exam, it is about ranking. Therefore, there will always be people who cannot resist the temptation. After getting help from their teammates, they do not help them and rush forward alone. Not to mention people who don't know each other, even friends who have been playing together since childhood may stab you in the back. Therefore, when looking for teammates in the first stage of the college entrance examination, in addition to strength, character is also very important. They must be trustworthy. Everyone is extremely cautious, but with Yufan's current strength, there is no need to find teammates. He only needs to lead his dog-headed strategist Huang Sikong all the way to the road to the sky. As for Huang Sikong, he has more confidence in Yufan than Yufan himself has in himself. At this moment, He was wearing a big hat and sunglasses, sitting on the ground and shaking his thighs in boredom, waiting for the exam to start. The hat and sunglasses were mainly because he didn't want his father Huang Zhonglin to discover him before the exam started. Otherwise, he might be forcibly prevented from taking the exam. Just as the two were chatting there, they suddenly heard a girl's voice calling them. Yu Fan, brother Chong. Yu Fan looked back and saw Qin Meng. Next to Qin Meng was a girl wearing leather armor. The two were very close and seemed to have a very close relationship. This girl is also quite good looking, with fair skin and big eyes, but she is not the same type as Qin Meng. Qin Meng is the type who has a slender body and looks soft and weak. But this girl has a very hot figure, with big breasts, a fat butt, a slim waist, and long legs comparable to those of a model. She is a type that men cannot resist. Especially the pair of supermodel and dazzling headlights, as if they were magical, attracting the attention of all the boys around. Qin Meng took her and trotted to Yu Fan. What a coincidence, I just formed the team and saw you too. Yeah, Yu Fan nodded. Qin Meng grabbed the waist of the girl next to him and introduced to Yu Fan. Let me introduce to you. This is my classmate and best friend. Her name is Zhang Xiaoxiao. Her profession is fortress guard. She is an auxiliary system with one of the best protective abilities. Fighting profession. Quote. Yu Fan was stunned and thought to himself that this girl's parents really don't know how to choose names. Zhang Xiaoxiao. I think it's not small at all. Qin Meng seemed to have guessed what Yu Fan was thinking. He hugged Zhang Xiaoxiao's waist from behind, then ran his hands up along the waistline, and finally put his arms on his ribs to lift up the things on top. The terrifying scale is clearly visible. How's it going? She has a great figure, it would be even more spectacular if she took it off. Qin Meng hugged Zhang Xiaoxiao and shook it. The snow-white color seemed to be pouring out from his collar, ready to come out. There were already many boys around who started covering their noses. Qin Meng, what are you doing? There are so many people here. Zhang Xiaoxiao's fair little face turned red. She struggled to break away from Qin Meng's clutches, then folded her hands to protect her chest and looked at Qin Meng in shame. Xiaoxiao, this is Yu Fan. Although he is a ninja, he is very strong, very strong. It completely matches your fantasy of a boyfriend. What do you want? Qin Meng, realizing that Zhang Xiaoxiao seemed really angry, Qin Meng had no choice but to smile and start talking about business. Well, I see you two are standing still. Do you plan to pass the first stage just by the two of you? Otherwise, how about the two of you joining us? I also have two classmates. We have a complete lineup. We are not afraid of any situation. After Qin Meng finished speaking, Zhang Xiaoxiao next to her was obviously surprised and didn't understand why Qin Meng wanted them to join the team. A career in life, a ninja. Although Qin Meng said that this ninja is powerful, ninja has no skills. No matter how powerful it is, how powerful can it be? Zhang Xiaoxiao knew that Qin Meng liked Huang Sikong a little, but this was not tolerated in things like the college entrance examination. Before Zhang Xiaoxiao could ask any questions, Yu Fan spoke first. Which ring are you planning to take? The first stage of the trial is like a wild forest. The closer you get to the middle, the more difficult it becomes. Therefore, in order to reduce the difficulty, many people will choose to go around from the outside. Although the journey has become longer, in general it can improve the efficiency of reaching the road to Tongtian. Over time, the detour route was divided into many different levels. Following the division method of large urban areas, it is divided into the first ring, the second ring, the third ring, all the way to the 10th ring. We plan to challenge the second ring. Qin Meng said confidently that the people she found this time were very good. Of course, the most important thing is that she reached level 26 with the help of Yu Fan. This is the source of her confidence. Only when she is strong is she truly strong. Forget it, we can just go on our own. How could Yu Fan go on the detour with them? A real man has to get hard. It must be in and out, there is no way around it. Qin Meng was stunned. Of course she knew that Yu Fan couldn't be afraid that the second ring was too difficult. Could it be that he is going to take a walk? A bold idea appeared in Qin Meng's mind, which frightened Qin Meng. You know, no one has dared to walk around Los Angeles for more than 10 years. Not to mention the first ring, there are very few people who have the strength to dare to walk through the second ring. They can be counted on one hand. The difficulty of the first ring is several times that of the second ring. What's more, everyone is challenging in a team, Yufan and the others are just two people, and Huang Sikong can't provide much help. This is equivalent to Yufan planning to challenge the ring alone. Just when Qin Meng felt unrealistic, the scenes in the goblin cave appeared in her mind. Yufan kills hundreds of goblins instantly with fire. Yufan summons the strange giant blaster dragon demon goblin. She suddenly felt that if it was Yufan, maybe he could really do it. After all, everything Yufan does will exceed everyone's expectations. Okay then, Qin Meng nodded regretfully. Now that Yufan has to walk around, it is indeed impossible to find any teammates. No one would believe that Yufan could reach the road to heaven from the first ring. No matter what, I wish you both success and good grades. Qin Meng calmed down his emotions and smiled at the two of them. After saying that, she took Zhang Xiaoxiao and left. When he met the other two people, Zhang Xiaoxiao said doubtfully, Ameng, why do you want to recruit a ninja to join our team? I can understand why you pulled Huang Sikong, but why did you pull that unfamiliar ninja? Quote, our lineup has a front row, a mage, a shooter, and a warrior. It's already perfect. It's not like you don't know my situation. I'm wearing a complete set of purple clothes, and my weapon is a magic shield that strengthens +5. One person can withstand the hatred of a large group of monsters. Zhang Xiaoxiao's family is not weak, and her profession, level, and equipment are also very good. She didn't understand Qin Meng, and by bringing Yufan and Yufan into the team, wasn't it just slowing down her team? And you also said you wanted him to be my boyfriend. It's not like you don't know. I only like strong boys. Qin Meng shook his head and said seriously, I invited him because he is really strong. I didn't lie to you. Come on, if you are really powerful, why don't you dare to walk the second ring road with us? Zhang Xiaoxiao pouted. She felt that Qin Meng was just teasing her. Qin Meng looked at Zhang Xiaoxiao. It's not that he doesn't dare to walk the second ring with us, on the contrary, he wants to walk the first ring. Zhang Xiaoxiao's beautiful eyes opened slightly, and then she waved her hands repeatedly. Impossible, impossible, just a walk. Just the two of them. Isn't that asking for death? Humph, believe it or not, I'm telling you, our top pick in Los Angeles this year will most likely be Yufan. Qin Meng wrinkled his nose. Zhang Xiaoxiao didn't believe it and said with a smile, how is it possible to be the #1 scholar? Let me tell you secretly, yesterday I heard my dad say that Mangekyō bought a purple lightsaber from somewhere. It's the one that Master Sword Master used when he was young. It seems to be called the Aurora Sword, and its properties are really outrageous. Now my dad and the others think that this year's top pick in Los Angeles must be Mangekyō. Qin Meng doesn't pay much attention to family affairs. This is the first time he heard about it. Aurora Sword, can you get this for him? But even if he has the Aurora Sword, the #1 winner must be Yufan. Qin Meng said firmly. She didn't think that Mangekyō, who had a lightsaber, could defeat the dragon demon goblin. Zhang Xiaoxiao was stunned for a moment. She didn't expect Qin Meng to think that Yufan would win the championship after knowing that Mangekyō had the Aurora Sword. What kind of stupor did that Yufan give you? Do you trust him so much? How about it? Do you want to bet? Why are you so afraid? What are you betting on? Zhang Xiaoxiao really didn't believe that Yufan could beat Mangekyō. Qin Meng put his face in front of Zhang Xiaoxiao, and then gave a bad smile. If you lose, I will punish you by letting me rub your weapon for an hour. You have already made me a lot bigger. If it gets bigger again, it will be very troublesome for me. The two started fighting again, making the boys around them thirsty. Over the stadium, 6 dignified old men stood in the sky. They are the principals of the 6 high schools in the north and south cities, and they are also the examiners of this exam. With their arrival, the students stopped making noise and all became quiet. The stadium, which was originally a market-like stadium, could hear a needle drop. Several people looked at each other. Wang Xing said, Dear students, this year's major exam is coming soon. According to the usual practice, I should be the one to deliver the speech, but this year we have invited a very famous young hero, so let him give the speech to you this year. Quote, let us welcome, frozen fish sword master and sword god's second disciple, Gao Kasheng. As soon as the words fell, the entire stadium was in an uproar. Gao Kasheng. Oh my god, is that Gao Kasheng? I didn't expect that I could actually see a real person. I have no regrets in this life. Look, he's coming. I actually got to see Gao Kasheng. My ticket was well worth it. Quote. Gao Kasheng changed into a pure white suit and flew slowly from a distance. As he flew, he kept nodding his head around, looking like a gentleman, causing the girls to scream. Pooh, you fans spat hard. This guy is really good at pretending. He clearly smokes and drinks in private. Gao Kasheng pressed down his hands to signal the venue to quiet down. Ahem. He cleared his throat, and as soon as he opened his mouth, his powerful voice spread to the ears of everyone here. This year's exam is about to begin. I think your teacher has emphasized it to you countless times about the precautions for the exam, so I won't go into details. His bubbly voice, which was almost smoking, made you fans' scalp tingle. You all know that you have repeated it countless times, so can you finish it quickly and start the exam? But Gao Kasheng, as a senior pretentious criminal, naturally cannot end it so easily. But there is only one thing that everyone should pay attention to. The college entrance examination is important, but compared with your own life, it is not worth mentioning. I hope everyone will consider their own strength and choose a safe enough route. Don't be greedy for merit and rush into an uncertain route. Although this is against the rules, I can tell you that this year's exam is more difficult than in previous years. Don't think that if you can withdraw from the college entrance examination, there will never be any problems. Every year in Longguo, students die in the college entrance examination because they fail to withdraw in time and fail to react. That's all I have to say. Please think carefully about it yourself. Do you understand everything? Clear. The candidates responded loudly. Gao Qi nodded pretentiously, then took out a silver stone from his arms and threw it into a huge altar in the middle of the stadium. I announce that the Los Angeles College entrance examination has officially begun. As soon as he finished speaking, a dazzling silver-white light lit up in the altar. The light accurately found each candidate as if it were a living thing, and then enveloped them in the light. After everyone was enveloped, the white light flashed fiercely, and everyone disappeared with it. At the same time, the altar slowly rose, and countless huge images of the entire system filled the entire stadium. After Gao Kasheng finished all this, he took the 6 principals back to the VIP room on the 3rd floor. The 3rd floor here is used as a place for the 6 principals and the city lord who serve as examiners every year. The 2nd floor was occupied by the well-known families in Luo City. According to convention, at this time in the past, the 2nd and 3rd floors should have a strong smell of gunpowder and start to rush each other. But this year, the situation on the 3rd floor is a bit special. There is an additional sword god disciple. As the strongest man in the Dragon Kingdom, the sword god must also be treated with courtesy by his disciples. It is truly an honor for our Luo City to have Master Sword God come to our Luo City this year to find his disciples. This year, 5 ghost swordsmen came out of our northern city. Although there are fewer in Nanchang, there are only 3, but we have tried our best. Li Hansheng, the principal of Baikang No. 1 Middle School, said to Gao Kasheng. How could Wang Xing not understand the meaning of Li Hansheng's words? He snorted coldly and said, "What's the use of just having a large number? It's only useful if you have strength." Strength? I heard that the student in your Nanchang No. 1 Middle School who always topped the exams awakened a ninja profession. Is this the strength you're talking about? Quote. Wang Xing wanted to get angry, but because Gao Kasheng was here, he had to suppress his anger and said, "You won't know until you have the strength to compare." Quote. The examiners on the 3rd floor are acting strangely, but the families on the 2nd floor are more straightforward. I don't know if you all know that my son got a level 20 rare purple lightsaber, Aurora sword. Quote. Mei Jiba's father, the president of the Mei Chamber of Commerce, Mei Pian said happily. Although several other companies had already learned the news through spies installed in the Mei family, they still pretended to be surprised. Aurora sword. Is it the laser sword used by Master Sword God back then? Exactly. Mei Pian nodded proudly. How did you get this lightsaber? Wang Yan from the Red Demon clan asked the question that was most concerning to several people. Ha, Mei Pian chuckled. How did this sword come from? You can't ask me, you have to ask President Huang. Huang Zhonglin, who was suddenly called out, was stunned. What do you mean? Why are you asking me? What do you mean? Mei Pian's face was slightly cold. Your son Huang Sikong sold this sword to our Jiba family. You really have a son who knows how to do business. It cost a total of 80 million. But, Mei Pian changed the topic and said grimly, this year's situation is a bit special. There is some money, and I'm afraid that some people have the money but not the money to spend. Everyone was shocked. The Mei Chamber of Commerce and the Bayota Chamber of Commerce have always had commercial conflicts and have been grudges for a long time. The Mei Chamber of Commerce has been suppressed by the Bayota Chamber of Commerce. If Mei Jiba can rely on the Aurora Sword, this time to be accepted as a disciple of the Sword God. Hiss, Luo City is about to change. After hearing Mei Pian's words, Huang Zhonglin almost spat out blood. What the hell? Was this lightsaber sold to Mei Jiba by his son Huang Sikong? What does this tough guy think? Not to mention 80 million, even 800 million cannot be sold. This treacherous son, such a treacherous son. When this traitor is found, he must break his legs. At this time, he couldn't stop thinking about where Mei Jiba got the Aurora Sword from. Seeing Huang Jianlin's face turning green and white for a while, Mei Pian felt very happy. I heard that Mr. Mei not only obtained the Aurora Sword, but also his level was raised to level 25, right? Quote. It seems that Mr. Mei's selection is a certainty. People from several big families around him began to get close to Mei Pian. Huang Zhonglin looked at the image outside the window with a gloomy expression. At this moment, the place of trial. All the candidates have entered and arrived at the outskirts of the trial site. From the outside, the trial ground is just an ordinary forest, not much different from the Grand Forest. Everyone began to move in tacit agreement, with the weak moving toward the periphery and the strong moving toward the center. It's very much like a normal exam. Those with good scores go to the examination room number 1, and those with poor scores go to the examination room at the back. Yu Fan and Huang Sikong moved all the way to the middle, with fewer and fewer people around them. They met Mei Jiba and his party near the 3rd Ring Road. Did you two go the wrong way? Shouldn't you be going to the 10th Ring Road? Mei Jiba took out his Aurora Sword, and said quietly, didn't you listen to Master Frozen Fish Sword Master? If you can't recognize yourself, you will lose your life. Yu Fan glanced at him and took out Obito's black robe, white mask and Uchiha fan from the system without saying a word. Put on a black robe and a white mask, and hold the Uchiha fan in your hand. Mei Jiba, right, what did you say you just said? Can you say that again? What? Mei Jiba was shocked. He still clearly remembers the brief confrontation between himself and the strange white mask at the gate of the Grand Forest instance. The huge gap in strength is still vivid in his mind to this day. He always thought that this person was the senior Huang Sikong found somewhere. Now he actually told him that this white mask was a student in the same class as him. And he's actually a ninja. You were the masked man that day. Mei Jiba stammered, you are actually. Huang Sikong took off his hat and sunglasses. Humph, you're afraid, we'll lose our lives, so take care of yourself. Mei Jiba hated seeing Huang Sikong showing off his power in front of him, so he gritted his teeth and said. It's ridiculous that a fox pretends to be a tiger. You are just a little brother and a burden. What are you so arrogant about, huh? You have a useless life and career. Oh, incompetent and furious, being a fool is a skill. Do you understand? The only one who is really awesome is the eldest brother. I think you don't understand the version of the answer. Huang Sikong said coquettishly. You can't win if you try your best. I'll act like an idiot. If I win, I won't make you angry to death. You, Meiji Hockey said anxiously. Okay, brother, why are you angry with him? A waste of life and career. The exam is more important, and some people are starting to prepare to enter. There are only 2 girls in Mei Jiba's group. One is Huang Sikong's green plum Yu Yanran, and the other Yu Fan has never seen before, but hearing her name for Mei Jiba, it is not difficult to guess that this should be Mei Jiba's sister Mei Yushang. It has to be said that her parents are much better at naming than Zhang Xiaoxiao's parents. Although Mei Yushang has a good-looking face, she has a solid figure and a perfect pair of A's. Most people can't stand it, and she will definitely suffer for her children in the future. Hiss. Since Mei Yushang's name is so accurate, then Mei Jiba. Yu Fan thought thoughtfully. When Mei Jiba heard Mei Yushang's words, he looked into the distance and found that many people were already making preparations. He snorted coldly and waved his hand. Humph, let's go. To be honest, Yu Fan usually hates it when people point their noses at him and make this, sound. You're not a tsundere girl, so you, your fart, This means that during the exam, there were too many people watching. If he were in another place, Yu Fan would have to punch his nose until he could no longer hum. Mei Jiba and his group walked towards the second ring road, while Yu Fan and Huang Sikong also walked towards the second ring road. Do you want to take the second ring too? Yu Yanran, who had been silent all this time, suddenly spoke to Huang Sikong in a stiff tone. Huang Sikong didn't know what attitude to use when facing Yu Yanran. He glanced at her and said nothing. There are only two of you, and Huang Sikong is still a living professional. Walking through the second ring is very dangerous. To pass the trial area, multiple people must cooperate. Even if the masked classmate is very strong, it will not work. There are some places it requires the cooperation of many different abilities to survive. I think Yu Yanran spoke incoherently and very quickly, with some worry in her tone. It was obvious that she was mainly worried about Huang Sikong. Yu Fan was stunned and thought that this plot was too standard. Although I can't be with you, I still care about you and still have you in my heart, but my body is already in the shape of someone else. I am no longer qualified to like Mr. XX anymore. Well, that's probably what it feels like, very accurate. As a 100% pure lover, Yu Fan once conducted in-depth research on a large number of Tauren plots in order to understand his enemies, and he is very familiar with this plot. Of course, reading these is to know yourself and the enemy. It is precisely because this evil thought is so corrosive that it is even more important to take the initiative and understand it deeply, and never sit back and wait for death. The motive is very simple and legitimate. As for what Yu Fan wants to see, there is no such thing as that. Yu Yanran, what are you doing? Pay attention to your identity. Mei Jiba said angrily. Yu Yanran was about to get engaged to her after the college entrance examination, but she still cared about Huang Sikong in front of him. Wasn't this a slap in his face? He turned to look at Yu Fan and the two. I'm telling you too, even if you also walk on the second ring road, don't try to follow us and get something cheap. I'll pick up your grandma's hammer. This guy kept chattering, and Yu Fan couldn't bear it anymore. He raised his Uchiha fan and pointed it at Mei Jiba. I've been putting up with you for a long time. If you say something like this again, I'll treat you to a shot of Amaterasu and turn you into Laozi's power. Yu Fan's voice was very unfriendly. Mei Jiba's fingers trembled slightly and he shivered slightly. Although he had no idea what Amaterasu and pupil power were in Yu Fan's mouth, his intuition told him that they were definitely not good words. Mei Jiba glanced at Yu Fan, thought for a moment, then turned around and left very wisely. A group of people walked into the second ring area, and Mei Jiba led his people and continued walking forward. The area of the second ring road is very large. There is a huge gap between the inner and outer areas of the second ring road. Why are these two still following? You don't really want to mess with my team, do you? But that guy is too strong, and I don't know if he can beat him in a fight. Tisk. Mei Jiba clicked his tongue lightly. Okay, let's go in from here. Mei Jiba stopped, clapped his hands, and signaled the people in the team to stop and start sorting out their equipment. But to his surprise, Yu Fan and Huang Sikong did not stop with them, but continued to move forward. A question mark appeared in Mei Jiba's mind. What are the two of them doing? Going forward is the first ring area. Are they going to challenge the ring? These two people are crazy. Everyone knows that the first ring area is completely different from the outside area. Not only the number of monsters has increased, but the types and levels of monsters are also completely different. There are even many monsters that do not exist in the outside area. Even if they are strong, they have very good intelligence. Some of them will even deliberately hide in the dark to ambush the candidates. Therefore, there are only two ways to challenge a ring. Either use the human sea tactic, where a large number of people pour in. As long as there are enough cannon fodder on the outside, the people in the middle can always reach the end. Either form a super elite team, and the team must have a super sense profession like Ashura to prevent ambushes. In short, if two people like Yufan and the others walked in alone, they were almost looking for death. As their thoughts turned, Yufan and Huang Sikong had reached the dividing line between the second and first rings. No, don't go in. There are too few people. You will die. There are too few people. Yu Yanran endured the pressure of being scolded by Mangekyō and shouted loudly, but she was stunned before she could finish her words. She saw Yufan stop in front of the dividing line, then squat on the ground, and began to slap the ground with his palms. What a joke. Everyone else knows this information, how could Yufan, a top student, not know it? Yufan dared to go in, so he naturally had his own countermeasures. Isn't it just a sea of people, cannon fodder? Isn't that simple? The thief is using his machine. Summoning technique. Summoning technique. Clap your hands and shout whatever you want. Yufan and Huang Sikong made a special trip to the wild before the exam started and got 30 giant bull-headed beasts. Cannon fodder must look like cannon fodder, be tall and big, and when the bullets come, all the bullets will hit the cannon fodder. This is the qualified cannon fodder. As for why there are only 20, the main reason is that Yufan can only control 20 wild monsters at the same time with his pupil power. If there are more, it will affect the use of Sharingan's other abilities. Huang Sikong can also control 10 of them using purple demonic eyes, which adds up to exactly 30. Mangekyō, what happened? Just now, we were laughing at Yufan and his group for having so few people. Why did they suddenly turn out to be a large force now? Where did these giant bull-headed beasts come from? Is this okay? This is obviously cheating, right? It must be cheating. Having so many wild monsters come out is totally a scam. Why don't you come out as a large army of 50 people? Grass. Mangekyō spat hard. As soon as the idea came to his mind, he saw Yufan stand up and make a cross-shaped handprint with his hands. An ominous premonition emerged in his mind. The next second, he heard Yufan mumbling. The card is so stupid. Multiple shadow clone, some people don't understand, please add it. Immediately, white smoke continued to explode around Yufan. Bang, 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 bang. In a few seconds, 40 or 50 smoke balls appeared. Just when Mangekyō was confused, the smoke slowly dispersed. Inside each smoke ball is a Yufan wearing a white mask and black robe. For a moment, Mangekyō didn't know which one was Yufan's true body. Mangekyō's large army of 50 people made a grand appearance. Mangekyō. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.